I think we're officially live, right?
Hmm.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is DC Soap Sanctuary and Albert Bossick of Bossick Enterprises for tonight's live stream. We're going to be discussing a little about Kate Mancy, and if she's a good recast for Christina on GH, and me and Albert's journey so far as YouTubers.
We're about to get into it. That's already got the wine already cracked open. It's my last little bit until tomorrow. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So, you already did it on yours, but you want to sit there and just kind of, a little reiterate a little bit about the people that don't know.
Yeah, so I decided to take a little bit of a pause from YouTube, guys. I mean, I've kind of barely been on these past few months as it is. I've kind of been sporadic. It's giving Mayor Collins in and out. Um, but I decided to take a little bit of a pause. Kind of. I wouldn't say if it's indefinite at the moment, but I know right now I'll be taking a little bit of a pause from YouTube. I feel like it's just that time. I did tell myself at the 2 year mark of my channel, I would reevaluate things, kind of like Marcus Coloma said at 3 years of GH, you would reevaluate things. Which I don't know if his was a reevaluation, but a fire rate, so that's a different story. But I decided to take some time. I have a lot of other things going in my life, and I think I'm gonna have to give them more time and dedication. And I know that Gemini said, "Oh, DC's the reason live is so late." I know, right? Yeah, it's because of me. Well, the last 15 minutes was Albert. I was all Albert. I was here at 8:30. I was here at 8:30. But I decided to take a little bit of a pause and a break, and I don't want to necessarily, like I say it's indefinite because I could be pulling the Kristen Alfonso and come back. If you guys remember, Kristen Alfonso plays Hope on Days. I don't know if my True Days fans, you guys remember every so a couple of 5 years she would say she quit and then come back the next year or two. So I could be pulling a Kristen Alfonso. Right now I'm just taking a little bit of a pause. That's why I put a little bit of a pause right now on that.
All right, all right. I just love, ladies and gentlemen, how DC also just kind of threw me under the bus. But also, yes, do hit that like button. It really does help. Thank you for the people that's joining, Jillian and everyone. Um, yeah, it was true. Like the last few minutes was mine, but it did start off with DC. I just want to put that on the record. Um, but just going into, it's funny because like I looked at that video and it's like I knew it wasn't the end. I knew it was just like a pause, but I felt, in all reality,
You kind of
for
saw
a
it
lot of
coming.
people, well, yeah, I saw that coming, but also we talked about this before, because me and DC, we usually sit there and talk about a lot of stuff behind the scenes or whatever. So you kind of said that a while back. And I remember me sitting there thinking, I'm like, and granted, it wasn't even like a full year or like a full like 2 years or whatever. It was like somewhere in the middle. It's like, yeah, around 2 years, I think I'm just gonna, I think it'll probably be time or whatever. And it was kind of weird because I was like, man, it was weird because I guess it was like putting an expiration date on it even
Right.
before, you know.
It
But I
happened,
think
right?
that's what
Right.
you always knew, you know. Because I remember me asking you that question. I was like, wow, it's not even like 2 years yet, or like even up to that good year yet. So I was like, what's prompting you to make that decision, you know?
Yeah, because we had me, you, and Brock were actually talking about last week, like briefly. I mentioned it briefly, and after that, I was like, "Oh man, maybe I shouldn't." Because here's the thing: like, even though I'll be taking a pause, I'll still come up in the comments in your JoJo Media. If you ever want to invite me back for a video, I'm free to. But I guess just on my channel itself, I'll be taking a pause from that. You know what I mean? And like I said, I felt it coming for a minute. I felt it coming for a while. Because like I said, I said that 2 year mark for Soap Sync show, I was going to reevaluate. Um, my time, but I loved it though. So it's not like I was, because that's why I make a video, because I don't want people to think I was angry, overwhelmed. You know how YouTubers are, like, I'm quitting my channel, guys. It's just like, it was like that. It was like, okay, I think this is a good place to kind of stop. Even though I'm only at 600 subscribers in, but I feel this is a good time to like, because I feel like I hit all the benchmarks on the channel. So like, this is a good time to take a pause for a little while. It's good. This is a good place. I felt kind of
Cool.
weird. It feels weird announcing it, but hey, and I could come back at any point in time. I reserve that right.
Well, I sat there and I looked at it for a couple of reasons. At first, I was like, I don't want to say this. I was stabbed. It was just like it made sense. I guess I was semi sad a little bit because you always brought a different energy than everyone else on YouTube and stuff like that. Sometimes I sit there and do my videos like, listen, ladies and gentlemen, Um, DC's a nice one. Let's just kind of keep that in mind. So if you want to sit there and do a more, upbeat kind of thing, you go to my guy DC. Me, yeah, I'm not doing that. But I just felt like you bring a different energy to the channel, to the soap operas content creators, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
on that level, it's like, wow, I just like, it was kind of heavy. It was kind of sad, but at the same time, it was like it made sense because you got to sit there and do it if your heart's in it. Your heart's in it, you got to sit. Then it's going to happen. But if your heart's not in it, then what are you doing it for? You
yeah,
know?
yeah. I would say this. I would say my heart's definitely is in it. It's just I know that the time and all the stuff, and I just had to take a step back because I have a lot of other things I have to kind of evaluate my own personal life. I feel like I've been through a journey the past 6 months. Relationships in my life are unraveling and things are happening, and it was this and it was that, and then so I went a different trajectory, and I was still keeping up with the channel, but I was like, you know what, like I said to myself weeks ago, I said, okay, right after my graduation is when I'll go ahead and put that video out there and, you know, make that announcement. I was like kind of meditating on, I was like, do I want to do that? Do I want to shut? And I was like, okay, I decided on the fact that I would make it a pause and not like this completely going away thing. Because, that's what people will say, okay, well, after this channel, then we go ahead and subscribe. Let's see what else is going on. And not even so much that, but it's just that, like, I really did enjoy my videos because when I first made this channel, I felt like I wanted to do something different I had never seen before on soap YouTube. I had never seen before, and I almost felt like my channel was like an encompassment of everything that I've seen, the skits, the videos, the interviews, the this, the that. But I wanted to have fun with this channel and make it just very unique because I've never seen any other channel like mine before. I mean, I could be wrong. I think the closest thing I've seen is Rad Rock Productions, but I've never seen anything as remotely similar. And that's not me like trying to flex or anything, but I haven't seen anything that was doing that. So this is a soap channel, it's a soap content. Let me bring that. And because as me as a soap viewer, I've always wanted to see that when I had watched soap stuff through the years on YouTube. I always want to see something like this. I was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and create that content. When I decided to in 2021.
Yeah, and you definitely did do it. Um, and like I said, I don't want to sit there and say your heart is not really in it anymore. It's just it's not
Is
your
that what
main
you
focus,
feel?
huh?
Is that what you feel?
No, no, it's well, it's not so much that your heart is not in it anymore. I don't want to sit there and say your heart's not in it because you're always going to be a soap opera fan. There's always going to be that inkling where it's like, oh, this happened. And honestly, tell you the truth, I can tell you right now, like you could be going for a little bit, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks or whatever. You'll watch an episode like, oh, this is crazy. Oh, wait, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have that inkling that you're going to want to sit there and talk about it. So I don't really think that your heart is really not in it anymore, but maybe that you don't want to get to a point where it's just not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Where it just becomes
Yeah.
something required.
Yeah.
This is something, again, me, you, and Brock was that you're talking about. Brock was like, you don't want it to be another job, you know?
Right.
And it's, like I said, it's weird because it's like it's not to sit there and say your heart's not in it, but it's not in it right now. Like as far as just doing the channel and stuff like that, it's not like you don't enjoy it. But when I sit there and say your heart's not in it, it doesn't mean you're just like F the channel. It's just like this is your main thing that's going on right now,
Right. Right.
and that's okay. That's totally fine. Um, when if you never you're ready to come back, you know that the people's going to rock with you is still going to rock with you. You know.
I think that's actually a fair assessment. Definitely, I would agree with that. I think it's a fair assessment because we were talking about me and you and Brock last week when we got off, which I felt like that whole convo should have been all live in a sense.
We always do
I
that
was
though
like,
sometimes. We always do that sometimes. We'll skip Janet. We
yeah,
always do that sometimes.
yeah.
We'll sit there and we'll have these really crazy conversations like, man, if I just would have hit the record button. I
I,
think if
I
I
think
just
it's
would
I
have
think I think it's because as YouTubers, like we're so not used to being personal, right? Even though like it's the authenticity and the part of us that people are connecting with. Like they come for the review, but they stay for us.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think something like we always got to remember, keep in mind. But when we were talking last week, and I was telling Brock, there were times that it did feel like a job. Like when I first started the channel in 2021, I was doing 5 days reviews. It doesn't show on my channel, obviously, because I had to recreate the channel and stuff. But I was doing the 5 days reviews, and that was a lot to keep up with. I think you remember when I was kind of starting to do that back in the day. I was kind of
Yeah, I
like, all
remember
right,
that.
well,
Hmm.
we go into the weekends. We do it once a week. And then once a week became bi-weekly. Bi-weekly became monthly. And monthly became when I can.
Yeah,
It became like that. But like I said, I've always enjoyed it because honestly, I have to admit that soap YouTube is, I think, the best YouTube I could have done. I don't think I would have enjoyed at that time doing any other genre or topic because of just the energy that it comes with. Where I'm not saying soap YouTube doesn't come with some of its outliers. Some of y'all be giving Kristen Demira and Jan Spear vibes up in here, but I think for the most part, it's been pretty regulated. I feel like for the most pretty positive, I would honestly say. Which I was grateful
yeah,
for. Besides soap Twitter, so
yeah. I mean, granted, you got so Twitter, you got Instagram, which is kind of a somewhat dumpster site, dumpster fire in itself. But the good thing though is that unlike any other genre that we see on YouTube, for the most part, we're all very supportive of each other. You know,
I
you
agree.
got Dion Snit coming on my channel, we Snit there talking about stuff. You got Danny Bear and stuff like that. You got Lanikia that's in and comes in the live streams every now and then. So it's not what Brock said. It's not the crabs in the barrel, or whatever. We all support each other,
Yeah,
and it's not like an animosity who's like, oh, I don't like this person because it's like, nah, we all just have fun. And I guess what makes all things so unique is the fact that, let's be honest, there's only four soap operas. In a way, not to sit there and toot our own horns, but we are sit there kind of like championing these soaps and stuff like that. Us and the fans
keeping
and
them
stuff like
alive.
that. Yeah, yeah. It just straight point. Yeah, we are literally, Smith did talk about the stuff, the positive, negatives, but we're talking about it, and I think that's
Yeah.
important for the soap operas in general.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We definitely are we definitely are keeping the genre alive. I mean, like I said, and the crazy thing is like when it comes to soap YouTube, there was a time there was no soap YouTube. It was Brock TV, Nancy Drew 37. They were soap YouTube at the time. That was it. They were like the pioneers, and Rock TV is still here. So Nancy Drew was like the one like to live, and Rock TV was a general hospital because Rock TV is still here. But you know, um, they created that, even though they didn't see, even though at that time there really wasn't an audience for that on YouTube. They kind of created that. Now here we are. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta give a hat to Rock TV for just kind of sticking. I'm sure there were others too that were there at the time, but there's just Rock TV is the most notable that I can call up my mind, and then Nancy Drew 37. Those were only two that can call up my mind at that time. But I'm glad that they kind of stuck that through and gave us a chance to talk because I will be honest, as a soap viewer for the longest time, I didn't have nobody to talk to about soaps. I was on my own. Like I was my own little world. Like there was nobody. And to find out that there was a whole universe of people, like where are you guys at?
Yeah, and you go back to it and just in general, and not to sit there and really talk about genders and stuff like that, but like, there's always a stigma when it comes towards men watching soap operas. So for me, seeing Brock or whatever talk about soaps and this, that, and the third, and he was very knowledgeable. At the time when I was watching it, I was like, I'm very actually knowledgeable to myself. I've been watching General Hospital and stuff like that for a hot minute, so I thought that was really cool watching him just talk about this stuff, you know? And you look now, there's so many people in this chat right now that got their own channels, that got their own soap opera channels, that they're coming from their snit, they're talking about this stuff. And what do you think about that though?
Oh my god, I think it's great. It's like an influx. It's like it reminds me of like what was it like the 60s or 70s or just like an influx of new soaps coming on the air. So that's kind of reminds me of. We have Last on Earth, Mr. Man, Kyrie's Clark, Angelique, Jacarius. I think it's
Yes.
honestly great. Honestly, I think it's honestly great because you know what? They're gonna provide something for someone or give some type of feedback that's gonna be like that someone is going to resonate with. Because here's the thing: there's so many soap commentary channels out there now. I feel like everybody and their mama got one, right? Literally, because what is it? Tell them where GH.
Yes, yes, literally,
Mad at his
yes.
mama. Mad at his mama. So everyone's got and I love their channel by the way. But everyone has a very unique take that they bring, right? So that was a thing too. I realized that. even though there's so many of us, there's gonna be something that every subscriber and viewer is gonna resonate with. There's something that I was trying to resonate with, or Brox, or the Nikia, or Lasting Earth Mystery Man, or me, or JLJ Media, or Kyrese, or Angelique, or Sabrina Faith, or Dion's Corner. There's always gonna be something that they're going to resonate with in terms of that channel, because every channel has its own uniqueness to it. Even if every channel is doing like a 5D review or something, but there's still something unique that that person brings that the other person can't, because they're not that person. That makes
Yes.
sense.
Yeah. And also, Joshua, he's another person that does reviews as well. So I want to sit there and throw his name into the hat. Um, but yeah, now when you sit there and you've been on this journey and stuff like that, and the subscribers and stuff, that support,
Mhm.
how has that been for you?
Oh my God, it's amazing. I was just reading a comment earlier that Ethel posted on my YouTube. She's like, oh, what can I say? Well, like, kind of what me to say without you, DC. You did it on your channel. I'm like, oh man, I love that. I love the support that the subscribers give me. When I did like my One Night to Live videos or skits, I love that. I love getting the support. Um, it's been amazing. This is why I said I feel like this is the most. Like I said, we do have our Jan Spears from time to time in the comment sections. We do have them, our
Yeah,
Christian
yeah,
Diaz,
yeah.
our Atlanta Cassadines in the comment sections. But I feel like this was the best type of YouTube I could have done to garner the best possible positive experience from it, as opposed to anything else that I had in mind at that time when I had first started. And I love it. I mean, what about you? How do you been feeling about the support you've been getting from
It's been
subscribers?
yeah, it's been surreal. It's been one of those things where it's like, I don't know if you was in the live stream yesterday, but I really was sitting there saying that. And granted, I know I'm going to sit there and flex again, so don't freak out or
Go ahead,
anything.
flex,
But
flex on me, flex on
exactly.
me.
But I did really sit there and say that our live stream soap chat is the number one channel on YouTube. Now, I sit there and say that because of the subscribers, because we always have a good time. We always sit there and bring the laugh and the support. We look out for each other, and it's just great. I feel like, for me personally, I would sit there and say I always feel like I'm hanging out with friends, which
Right,
makes it so
right.
much easier because I can sit there and have such a long day, wake up so early, be super tired, and come and do this live stream and just hanging out with friends. You start hanging out with friends or whatever, and it's like you were tired, but now you're just like you're kind of fine. It's like you have your second win. That's how it feels for me 5 to 7 days a week. So when I sit there and say that I was just the number one live stream soap opera chat, I don't just sit there and say that because I think I'm like super great. I say that
You
because of
better.
all the people that's in the chat that makes it so fun.
You better. I mean, honestly, you are the only person that does it 7 days a week. I mean, your channel is very unique. Like, okay, this is what I call it. Like, okay, for people in the chat who haven't heard, this is why I was calling Bostic Enterprises, because Albert just has everything just so set up. I call him like a leash shit at this point. I feel like this point kind of getting a little bit EJ Demarish, but I feel like in a good way, in a good way, in a good way, in a good way. But the way Albert has it set up is how he has this 5 days a week, and then you have the weekends for the members, and then you have certain like members videos only, stuff like that. And it's just I knew when I saw you do your first live, I was like, and I loved it. This was the first time I've ever been on a live with anyone where I'm like, oh my God, I felt like a party. I think I told you that. I was like, I felt like a
Yeah.
party. Your first live, I felt like a party. And everyone's like, we were excited for the next one. Just the way you do it, the way you interacted with the chat, and coming back on, you know what I'm saying? And just, just the live itself, which I've seen people do that, but not into the full capacity the way you have done it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really impressed. Like, you made it to the 1,000 subscribers. And I really like that you're like, okay, I'm at the 1,000 subscribers. What am I going to do with this? And then you decided to what you're going to do to formulate that. So I love that. I love that you did
Thank
that.
you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Black Man. Yeah, I do feel like we're like a family. We hang out. We'll sit there and disagree and stuff like that. We'll go back and forth, but it never feels, for most people, it never feels where it's like contentious. It's just like we're just having a good time. Because at the end of the day, listen. Well, we all have our lives, we all have our ups and downs throughout the day or whatever. But for like, if we get to sit there and hang out for like an hour and a half, 2 hours or whatever, and just sit there and talk about something that we enjoy, eh, you know, the day couldn't have been
Right.
that bad. We're
Right.
still here, we're still laughing, we're still joking.
I had to
So,
come save you on Wednesday. I had to come in and come save you on Wednesday.
oh yeah, 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 because it did turn into a shit show. Yeah, that's literally what it is. That's what.
I was
But
like, let me
here's
come
the
in
thing.
and save him.
But here's the thing. It's one of those things where it's like, one, as long as I've been on here doing this live stream, I'm still learning. So there's obviously going to be topics that I'm going to avoid, and then there's topics I'm going to sit there and talk about. The good thing that actually came from that topic, as contentious as it was that at the end, people are still here. The people that we sit there, that I was sitting there talking about, the strike and everything like that, they're still
Did you
here.
read up about it now? Did you
No,
finally actually read up on it?
no, and that's why I didn't. I'm gonna read up on it
You still
tomorrow.
haven't read up on it? Oh god.
But it's one of those things where it's also a very humbling experience because Nikisha and everyone was right. I didn't actually read up on it, so I'm sitting there kind of half-assing a conversation that in reality I should do my homework on. But it's one of those things where it's a live and learn experience, and like I said, it was more of a test. It's also a test because people are still here, everyone's still here, and
Your position
they
was you
know
saw
that
both sides, right?
I did see both sides, and but regardless of, well, yeah, it was more of just knowing that I can be humbled, and I'm not always going to have the answers. I'm not always going to sit there and say the right thing. To know that people are still going to sit there and rock with me is it's a feeling that I just can't describe.
Were
You
you
know,
were you look were you looking at it from the business perspective when you said I can see both sides, like the business perspective for the writers, and then of course the financial side for the actors and the whole crew?
in
Was it from
some
that
ways,
business?
no. In some ways, I was just not here trying to see it from like I feel like we're about to get into this again. But I saw it from the side where it was just like maybe it was a little bit. I don't want to sit there and say condescending, but it wasn't like I can sit there and say that because I'm not in that position. So I can sit
Both
there
our
and
legal
say
counsels that are in the chat as we're talking about this is gonna get good. Okay, go ahead. I'm kidding. Okay, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. But it was one of those things where it's like I saw it from my perspective, right? So
Right.
I didn't sit there and see how it was from a writer's perspective and working tirelessly every day and not feeling like you're getting your just due. So I just saw it from that one perspective of, oh, well, I feel like, if you don't like your job, you can sit there and just get something else. But it's a very callous thing to say because I'm not them. I don't do what they do. So in some ways, it probably came across as pretty arrogant, you know? But it's one of those things where it's like you say something and the people in the chat, I learned from it. And it's, what I'm saying? That's why I sit there and say it's humbling because I understand now.
You got humbled
Like I don't
because
understand
you
the
give
business
heads,
side
man,
of
huh?
it, but you understand what I'm saying, though.
No, I understand what you're saying. I understand because there was a TED talk I listened 2 years ago, and I didn't even realize who was going to be speaking when I listened to it. And apparently, the person who was giving the TED talk, she was a producer in As World Turns, and she said in the TED talk how once the show got canceled, her and her husband had to move in with her mom in like a two-bedroom apartment and with their kids. And you would think being a producer on a soap, you making money, and something should be coming in, and things should be flowing a certain type of way, and it's really not. I'm starting like it's crazy how I learned that. So I remember there was the whole Eric Braeden thing with Eva Longoria, which I understood where Eva Longoria was coming from. She was just saying, listen, like we weren't getting paid like that episodes, and she wasn't lying. I mean, Eric Braeden's getting paid billions, so that's why he might feel some type of like, don't disrespect me, my crap, and I get him where he's coming from, but that wasn't her experience. That was not Elon Gore's experience. She said she had to
Yeah.
go. She quit her staffing job, her staff recruiting job, and she said when she worked at Young Wrestler, she saw when she got paid, and she had to go right back to working that staff recruit job at night because it wasn't enough. And that is crazy. Or like the actress who plays Heather on YNR. There was years ago she was on a TV show saying how like after she won her daytime Emmy, she had to go back to waiting tables You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't that wasn't their reality. So that's what even the whole Eric Braeden, Elon Longoria thing. I see where he was coming from, but it's like I feel like he totally missed the mark of what she was trying to
Yeah.
say.
You know, my whole thing is when I look at a situation like that with ag braiding and stuff, I was just like, I understood the idea that he wanted to protect the people that do what he does 5 or whatever days a week because it's not an easy job to do. And
Yeah,
so to sit there and say things that may come across as callous, like, oh, I don't want to be considered a dumb actor, it's hurtful and it's disrespectful for the people that have been doing it. So I totally understand that. And I think, just to kind of kind of circle it back around, I understood where I was coming from because I came from a place where, okay, I feel like I'm getting chastised for my opinion, but in reality, it's just coming across as arrogant because I don't do what they do. So it's
right,
very,
right,
it's a, what I'm saying? It's a very disrespectful thing to say because I'm not in their shoes. But again, it's one of those things where it's a humbling experience, and if I can learn from it and do better moving forward, and I have the people here that's going to sit there and support me, how could I sit there and really be mad about that?
and you know what I will say too is that it's possible that there wasn't necessarily a chastisement from the chat. It was just because these words are being written and we can't hear the tone which they're being said,
Well,
and
not
we have that.
chastisement. And I'm talking about like at the time, I felt like during that time when it was
Right,
happening, it felt like it was a certain level of being chastised. But when I really sat there and I thought about it, it wasn't that at all. It was just
right,
people sitting there telling me, this is not how it is. You have to sit there and fully understand the story before you come out and say what you're saying.
yeah,
And I understood that. But see, that's the thing though. I'm going to sit there and mess up. I'm going to sit there and make mistakes. Um, My only thing is that I hope I don't sit there and make a mistake that is too unforgivable. Because when you do what you do and you're speaking, you're going to sit there and piss somebody off. Hell, if I sit there and say, I like Carly better than I like Nina, that's going to sit there and piss somebody off, you know? But that's small compared to you sitting there saying something arrogant and you learning your lesson afterwards. There's
right,
levels to F ups, I would sit there and say.
right, right. You know, I had felt the same way when I made my controversial soap opera characters video. And I knew because some of the things I was saying there, the topics and everything, and I was like, okay, let's see how it's gonna go. I had never been so worried about a soap video since my Steve Burton video of when he left GH because he wanted to take the vaccine. And I said in the video that I agreed with his decision to leave, but then I also understand why GH let him go because they got a show to produce and they gotta
Yeah.
protect all the other people, the staff. That Steve Burton video, though, I'm not gonna lie, that one made me nervous. I know I'm talking about this right now in this open chat, but that Steve Burton video made me the most nervous. And funny enough, I did not get one crazy comment in that video. It was so crazy. And I think the smart thing I did was I never posted at the soap Twitter. Because I remember at the time when I had a soap Twitter, I'll be posting, hey guys, check out this video I posted. That
Yeah.
was probably for the best I ever posted to soap Twitter because they would have eaten me for breakfast. You know what I'm saying? No ketchup and no pepper. So, I think that Steve Burton video, like I said, that one was the most scariest one I did. So when I did the soap opera controversial character videos, like okay, like I don't know how this gonna go. If I use right terminology, okay, let's just kind of go for it. But I know the intention that was obviously in there behind it. So like okay, let's stay by this video. Plus, I spent 5 hours on it, so it's gonna have to get posted.
But yes, no, thank you, Kyrie's, and thank you, Nikisha. And of course, I didn't sit there and take it. But the thing is, when you're in the heat of the moment, it's very easy where you feel like you are maybe defending yourself, but you're not really. You're just kind of defending your position, even
Yeah,
if that position may be wrong at the time. That's what mode you're on. But at
yeah,
the end of the day, I mean, I don't regret. I don't regret it because I learned something. And I had the people here that didn't see me as an arrogant tool, that was just like, listen, we think you're a good person. You're kind of misguided right now, and we need to sit there and tell you why. And I think that's great because I want people to sit there and be honest with me. You know, I want people to be honest. You know how many YouTubers that you got out there that would just sit there and say some off the wall crap, and then people behind them just like, yeah, you go, and you're just like, no, like you should just let certain things fly. You shouldn't just let certain things fly. I swear to God, listen, there are people now, I'm not going to sit there and say names, that sometimes things that 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 person may sit there and say, and then people are just like, oh, okay, cool. As opposed to sitting there checking that person, you're like, yeah, I don't think what you're
Wait, are
doing
you
is
just like well-known
necessarily good.
YouTubers? Are you talking about
Huh?
like well-known YouTubers?
I'm talking about YouTubers. I'm not
Okay,
saying.
okay, okay.
But
I got you.
you know,
I got you.
just yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
got
I
you. I
know
got
damn well you got me, but
you.
I'm just sitting there saying
Okay,
like
I
I'm
definitely
just,
got you.
I'm just sitting there. I'd rather have people that's gonna sit there and be on my side and be like, bro, you need to sit there and just think about this before you continue going down that path, as opposed to just
Yeah.
letting people sit there and say foolishness and just kind of being like, that's cool.
Right. I agree. Right. Because definitely it's like that where even that video I did, the controversial characters, it made me think because I probably had to be conscious of that because of course I haven't maybe had some of those experiences, right? So as I'm talking about it, I got to be mindful of the context in which I'm talking about certain things, especially certain things that are sensitive topics, right, to other people, because it's never my desire to just go off and just blatantly offend people. It's just always go off and make good content. And I think that was why the Steve Burton video was successful because I never negated the other side, even though I had what I thought was mines on it. I never negated the other side because that was a sensitive time for a lot of people. It was COVID, folks were dying left and right. It was a very sensitive time, and I know the moment somebody said they understood what Steve Burton did, what they did, it was just like, oh, you agree with Steve Burton? How could you? But then I also said too at the same time, I understand why people feel like they have to get their vaccines or whatever. When that time was going on, you guys watch the video. I gotta go into
Yeah,
detail.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I
yeah.
understand what
Now I want to sit there and highlight this comment specifically,
I knew
because
you're gonna highlight it too.
yeah. See, but that's another thing that I love about Smith. They're doing videos with you and doing classes with you because it's like we're in sync about that stuff. But Sammy was like, no one was against you. We were just trying to get out to see the movement you defended to corporate raiders. It will eventually trickle down to your job and life. And we love Albert. Thank you, Samuel, and I appreciate that. And in all reality, but that's what I was Smith is saying. I want people to sit there and check me and be like, when I go too far left, I want people to sit there that actually rock with me is going to sit there and bring me back and be like, bro, you can't just stop. Like, you really need to sit there and stop.
But wait, is it for all soaps
Hmm?
that the right
What
strike is happening, or is it just why? No, I'm
is,
not. See, I haven't
I
read it
mean,
either.
I think it's for everything. I mean, soaps. I mean, movies. I mean, like just a debt stop everywhere.
Okay, I understand. Rent is high. I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah. So, but I mean, like again, that's one of those things where it's like I really love to support because I'm not just in there getting positive comments and stuff like that. I'm getting people that's going to be real. I think that's
Mm.
why personally, what pisses me off the most is when I feel like people take advantage of their subscribers. That pisses me off the most because
How so?
um I just, doing this and stuff like that, I really connected with a lot of people, a lot of subscribers and stuff like that. And I feel like they're my friends. So when I see certain people, certain YouTubers or whatever that take advantage of, the scams or whatever, these crypto things or just things that me and you have
Oh,
talked behind the scenes,
okay.
just in general, it just pisses me off, because I feel like there's a certain level of loyalty and there's a certain level of respect and love that I have for my subscribers. And when I see people that take advantage of that, it bothers me. Like to no end, it bothers me.
I didn't even know that happened in like your comment section, like
No, not my comment section. I'm just mean like
oh, in general.
as far as yeah, just in general, you know. But yeah,
Okay, I understand that. I understand that
yeah.
part because I was thinking for a second. I was like, I never see the comment section,
No, not in my comment
But
section.
yeah, okay. That's why I thought you initially said at first. But I mean, I didn't know
Yeah,
the riot strike was all Hollywood. I did not know this. Um,
all of it.
all right, well, I don't blame him. Let's look. I don't know if the soaps can afford it. I think Days can afford it. Days. Because here's the thing too. When I even look at Days, not to go on a quick tangent here because I know we got some points, key points, got to talk about tonight. But I know a lot of fans were upset at first of having to pay for Peacock. But I think the way the producers of Days looked at it, like, hey, we've had the show on for 50 some plus years. You're supporting it. You love it. I was watching actually Lockup. I've been binge watching Lockup on this NBC. Don't ask me why. I just have. And one of the prisoners was just like, yeah, I'm catching my favorite show right now, Days of Our Lives. And of course, this was like years ago when it was on TV. And I'm like, wow, they want Days of Our Lives in prison too. Like to watch Days of Our Lives in prison. But I get why the network had to eventually get to that point to do it because when they had to save the show, and if you really like it a lot, then you will support it. And I get it because there's so many streaming services these days. It's like if we pay for all of them, we won't have nothing left at the end of the month. I get it. There's so many of them. I completely get it, but I get where they were coming from because like this was a show that has proven over 56 years it can keep viewers. So it's like we should be able to sustain them when we go on to streaming. So I understand where they come from. But anyways, go ahead. I was gonna say a quick aside.
No, no, no. Yeah, no, no. Thank you, Nikisha, and thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Me. I usually can't. I'm always trying to respond to the chat. But I got to thank out my guy DC, and you know how I usually do it. Um, I just appreciate everyone being here. If I haven't said that enough, now hmm, let's switch gears a little bit and let's talk about this whole Kate. How do you pronounce her last name? Because I'm bad with names.
Mancy, Kate Mancy. She
Kate
used to play
Manson.
Apple, right? On Days.
Yeah. So, what do you think about her being on as Christina? You know,
Now, has she physically been on already?
no, 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 she hasn't, but she's
She
they
got
officially
cast.
said she's recast. Yeah,
You know what? I understand it because I think they want. Here's what I think it is. I think the writers want to write not meaty Christina. They want to write meaty material for Christina, who is the daughter of Sonny Corinthos, my boss extraordinaire. And I think maybe from the writer's perspective, they were probably wondering, can the current actress who plays Christina handle that meaty material that we're about to write? And then maybe that's why they brought in Kate Mancy. And Kate Mancy, to me, I thought she was amazing as Abby. Oh wait! Oh my God, I'm thinking Marcy Miller. I'm thinking Marcy Miller in my mind. Wait a minute, we're talking Kate Mancy. Okay, wait, never mind. Hold on.
let's bring it back. Bring it back.
Let me take it back a little bit. I thought I was thinking Marcy Miller in my mind. Um, all right, never mind. Let me rephrase all this. I was
Yeah,
thinking
let's,
Marcy
let's
Miller.
try this again.
Let me. Okay. Okay. I can still go by that. It's possible that even with Kate Mancy, I was thinking Marcy Miller originally, but it's still possible the writers think that okay, can the current actress Lexi Ainsworth, who plays Christina, can she handle the media material that we want to write for Sonny's daughter? And then maybe they feel like Kate Mancy was a better fit, but it does feel a little drastic. I don't know if the actors look alike to me. It does feel like a little bit like night and day, a little bit in certain ways, although maybe the casting director felt like there were just certain similarities that were there. I need to watch his interview he did with Alan Locker because I do want to understand how he thinks is bad for a lot of reasons. Not in a bad way, I'm saying. I just understand his thought process. But what are your thoughts on it?
See, my issue comes down to age. And granted, when it comes to these soaps, they always sit there and age these characters a different way, and things don't make sense, and whatever. We can sit there and we can get into the fact that Cameron is supposed to be probably as old as Michael and this, that, and the third. But now we're looking at it, and first you got Lexi, who does look pretty young, but then you have Kate that looks older than Michael, and I'm like, so I guess we're doing this again, right? It's like Spencer and Joss. You know, Spencer is supposed to probably be as old as Michael, if you know what I'm saying, not that much difference. So every
Yeah.
time Josh you sit there and say, "Oh yeah, my younger cousin Spencer," I'm just like, "Wait, what?" And now we just decided to age up like there's no tomorrow with Kate and Chad Dua Michael, and I'm just like, did anyone actually think about the fact that she's a little bit older than Michael and how this is supposed to make sense? Because I feel like that's something that I'm just not there looking at. Like, how does that make sense? I mean, it's kind of a stupid question at this. Yeah,
Okay, too late, Nikisha. I just read that comment, but I would say that okay. Honestly, I think Kate Mansi looks like she could be Michael's age or even slightly younger. To me, in my eyes, okay. If it was Marcy Miller, I could see that. If it was Marcy. Marcy was the last person to play Abby when she did the Abby and Gabby. She did that the best. Kate Mansi, when she did the most personality ID and days, didn't hit the same way. Um, Recast. I don't know if you remember on GH when they recasted Justice Ward in around '06, and he was completely different from the Justice Ward they had in the '90s. There's one '90s like he looked like a grown man with a whole caravan of kids, and they recast him with another Justice Ward. It looked like he was like in his late 20s. Does anybody remember that? Albert, come on, you watch the show longer than me. You come on, you gotta know this. Come on, come on, come
No, 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 I don't. But when I read somebody snippet saying Kate is 35 and Lexi is 30, so all right, maybe it's also one of those things where it's like maybe once I see it on screen as her playing Christina, maybe I'll just be like, well, I guess I was wrong, and I'll be happy about it. You know?
What if they're okay? Never mind, because they were already okay. Well, what if they're bringing in Kate Mansi? This is a wild theory I'm going with, is so they can put her with Ethan. Remember they had the whole thing with her and Ethan back in the day? And
Yeah.
what if they feel like Kate Mansi would have better chemistry with this new Ethan? Because remember, Lexi Ainsworth had chemistry with the old Ethan. If they had chemistry. Are they about the same age? Lexi Ainsworth and the last Ethan, were they about the same? Or there was like supposed to be younger and
Older, yeah, it was definitely younger and older. It wasn't that
okay,
much older, but you can see the difference though.
because there's some so okay, like for example, okay, I know you never seen As the World Turns, but I'm just gonna give this example and hopefully someone in the chat will catch what I'm saying. There was Craig and Lucinda on As the World Turns, and Craig was clearly younger than Lucinda. But then over time, especially I want to say in the last years of the show, they look like they were neck and neck in age. It's just like how a woman could date a man, she's 30 and he's 50, and it looks whoa. But then when she's 50 and maybe he's 70, it's like, all right. Like, cause now they're almost like neck and neck. And I don't know if that was the reason why they recasted with Kate Mansi, because they felt like she would look more closely resembling in age or so with the new Ethan, or maybe it was a chemistry thing. But I think Lexi Ainsworth, I mean, I don't know. Lexi Ainsworth can act. We remember the Kiefer storyline back in the
Yeah.
day. She can act,
Hmm.
so that's not the issue. I think, um, and I think some people said in the chat might be her availability, which is why they recasted her. We'll have to see how it goes. I'm open to the recast. I mean, the new Ethan grew on me, which I don't think.
Yeah.
I think he grew on everybody. I don't think that was a hard grow for anybody.
Well, my whole thing is with Ethan is that I don't feel like that actor's gonna. I don't. I mean, granted, this is just me saying this, but I don't feel like that actor's gonna sit there and step.
I don't think so either. People don't
So, I
think so.
mean, it's not really so much about that. Now, people did sit there and say that she does look like she could be Alexis's daughter, like as far as their looks and stuff like that. Um, I mean, I'm that was the cat.
Oh, you heard her? Oh, okay. I didn't.
Yeah,
You heard her. Okay, of course you heard. Okay, of course you heard. Okay.
but I guess it's time will sit there and tell. Maybe it was just appearance because yeah, even though there's a 5 year difference, I just feel like Lexi just looks younger. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm willing to give it a chance. It's one of those things. It's like let's just see how it goes. Let's see how it works. Um, because like I'll sit there and compare this to like let's say superheroes or whatever and like costumes and stuff. Sometimes you sit there and look at a costume and you're like, yeah, I don't know about this. But then you'll sit there and see it in action and it's just like, oh, okay, I can sit there and rock with it. So it's definitely one of those things where it's like I'm open to it, but like I don't know. I was at work today. I looked at it, I was like, she looks younger than this new chick, and now this new chick looks older than Michael. But maybe when we sit there and put them side by side, it won't look like that to me. I guess it's definitely one of those things where it's like time is going to sit there and tell. You
No, like
know?
I said, I think that they recast her because there's the writers like I said, people are saying it's availability thing. That may be it because the writers are probably thinking we need to write a story. Well, not the writers; they're on strike currently, but the show, the show realized that hey, we need to make we need a storyline for Christina because it's just so weird that she is the daughter of a mob boss, and it's like because I feel like Christina should be in Jocelyn's place. Like the meatiness, the Jocelyn's getting storyline. Like this would have been 20 times more meatier if it was Christina with Dex than with Josh, because then with Jocelyn, because Christina is actually Sonny's daughter. So there was that added element there, and she's Michael's sister, right? So there's that element there. It would have been better, and I think that storyline would have been better suited, more soapier, instead of Sonny's stepdaughter who hates his guts now, even though she was eating off of his blood money for years. They were eating off of that drug money, that dynamite money for years with the Pikeman deal. They've been eating off that blood money for years. I got a problem with it.
Yeah. And I mean, granted, we can always sit there and laugh about that. I look at it and I'm just like, it's so, it's so dumb that, again, I always sit there and go back to the Maurice Bernard video when he did with, I guess the woman that played his sister, Courtney. And he was laughing at the fact that Michael couldn't get past what's going on with the whole Nina thing, but yet he got past the fact that, he killed his father. So there's a
Even though,
certain
so
level
even
of,
Maurice knows that's yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, it was laughable. And but going back to Christina, it has been a damn shame the way they have actually treated that character. They haven't given her anything to do. I don't know the situation with the actress. I don't know if she was just like she was doing other things and she couldn't come on, or was it one of those things where it's like they didn't have anything for her to do. I just hope that with this new actress that they'll give her something to do. That she's just not there because one of the things I always sit there and say, I've said it, you said it, Brock, and James, is that there's too many people on the show. So we don't really get to see a lot of these characters really do anything. And it's a shame.
But you know what? I could be wrong. I've only seen Monday's episode so far. I was like, oh, this is good. Like the writing was on point, and the flashback Nina had to call the SEC. I was like, well, this is giving me classic soap. I was like, this is actually is now you can spoil me. Was the rest of the week as good too after Monday?
It is. It is. It's good. It's all good. It's all good throughout the week. They've
Maybe the
actually
writers
killed
should go on strike more often. I'm just playing.
it. Hey,
I'm
chat.
playing, guys. I'm playing.
Just
Bad
remember
joke.
that
Bad joke. Bad joke.
he said that, not me. But no, I mean, just in general, it's been fired up. I am a dick, by the way, in case you haven't noticed in the chat. No, but it's been fired up. It's actually been good. Like things is happening, even without the boat story and the whole getting Victor and stuff like that. It's been good. I've actually been siding on some in some instances with Nina, which is hella crazy. So it's getting good. So you're gonna enjoy the rest of the week. You're gonna enjoy the rest of the
Now,
week.
I gotta know this. You're siding with Nina. Because for all my Nina supporters here, I'm here for you guys. A safe space. I'm your advocate. All right, for my Nina fans. But I gotta know what is it made you side with Nina?
See, I know I got to spoil it for you now. I'm
You
sorry,
might as
but I
well.
gotta.
We had the whole chat
So,
talking about half this week already. You might as well.
okay, so there's a point where Willow, she collapses or whatever. She goes to the hospital. Carly finds out and she goes down there, right? Carly and Michael was there. At what point did they think not to call Nina? I get that Carly doesn't like Nina and she's very protective of Willow and stuff like that, but push your stuff aside. This isn't about you. This isn't about your vendetta with Nina. You can't push your stuff aside, your beef or whatever with her to sit there and just at the very least let her know, hey, your daughter's in the hospital. You need to get down here. It's not looking good. But instead, she had to sit there and find out through one of Sonny's goons. How disrespectful is that? This isn't the first time Nina has done something messed up miss like that. She's pulled that crap with Ava with Avery. I'm like, boo, if the roles were reversed, you wouldn't like that. So why the hell are you sitting there doing that to her? I get you don't like her, but push your stuff aside for 5 minutes and think like a mother. I sat there, I was like, I can't believe I'm actually sitting there siding with Nina. And I'm not even drinking yet. This is nuts.
I think the problem is too is that Carly Carly wants to be a mother to everybody else's kids but her own. I noticed that a little bit. I've got to notice that. You know. I've got to notice that. And I'd have to agree. I feel like, and this is why, like, Nina calling the SEC, she couldn't think it through, considering that Drew had to be the well, not Drew, but Drew had to go help save Liesel. And I don't know what happened the rest of the week. Guys, just go ahead and talk about it. It's not gonna spoil anything for me. I'll just act surprised when it happened. I'll have amnesia. I'll be Mike from Nixon Falls. So but I don't think I was like watching episodes. Like, I don't think Nina has thought this through. Like, Drew was the man that was supposed to help uh, bring Liesel back, and now you're sicking the SEC on him, which you're now going to be out seeking him. And I can't wait to see when Sonny finds out that's going to look like. Because Sonny just pretty much told her like, I always have Carly's back. And when you're a woman who has 10,000 of a man's kids, yes, he's gonna have your back. And so you just got to realize that. So what I saw on Monday was I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good from what I saw so far.
Yeah, no, it was good. They've definitely been killing it, and it's so weird because a lot of times I'll sit there and be like, "Well, Days won because Days won by default because it was actually decent, and GH was well GH." But this week, GH, listen, I'm very critical about all these shows. When GH actually surprises me, I gotta sit there and give him the props. I gotta
I think
sit
the
there and give
writers
him
are
the
listening. Well, not anymore. They're not listening anymore. They're at home now at this point, unfortunately.
props. You see,
Okay,
these
bad joke, guys.
jokes,
I just keep coming with the bad jokes. I keep coming with the bad
you'll
jokes.
be here all week.
They're not.
You
They can't be listening now. They're at home.
actually tell you the truth, they may actually be listening to because they are at home. But you know what? We're not
Actually,
gonna.
you're right. You're right. Writers, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm sorry. They're probably watching this. And, F this and F Robert Plastic 2. We're out of here, guys. Talk crap about us.
Damn.
Yeah. All right, guys. Writers, I apologize. Actually, they might have the time. Actually, they might have some time to watch this. So, but I think the writers, when they wrote that storyline, that they were listening. I think they came to the point where they're listening. Um, because even now, Christina, now all of a sudden, Christina is being used. They are reading those tweets. I know they are. Those people are reading those tweets. And so now Christina's finally being used, as she should, because it's just so weird that Sunny has a daughter and nothing is being done with her. And Jocelyn is not Sunny's daughter. I know that they were trying to set her up like that years ago, and I'm just happy like we've broken away from that because she is not. Let the rightful queen take her throne, okay? Christina Corinthos, all right? Because the thing about it is that Christina is connected to two well families, and it doesn't feel like it. She feels like a background character. You forget that she's a Cassadine and a Corinthos. You know, you honestly forget that. So I feel like it would be cool to see the show tap into that some more. Honestly,
That's the same thing with Sam, though. Sam is technically also a Cassadine, but she's more just been like, I don't want to sit there and say like Jason's sidekick or whatever, but like people did find it really interesting when she was with Jason. And now she got this whole weird thing with Dante that people just not liking, but that's what they decided to do. They decided to sit there and stick those two together because that just made sense for them, apparently.
I don't know if you guys remember, but back in I think it was 2010 or 2008 to 2010, they had five people on the poster GH. And funny enough, these people represent the five families GH, not the five mob families, but the five core families. You had Sonny, who was a Corinthos, Carly, who was a Spencer, Jason, who was a Quartermain, Sam, who was a Cassadine, and then Elizabeth, who was a Weber. And they were on the GH posters for years. And I had just picked that up. I was like, okay, that's a nice. I don't know if the writers intentionally did that, but they represent the five core families of GH. Well, Elizabeth's family is kind of off. They're kind of,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
they're not really there anymore.
But thank you, Valerie. Yes, hit that like button. I don't know where we are with the likes because we're on StreamYard. For some odd reason, I can't look at the likes because that just makes sense. By the way, just on a side note, because sometimes I sit there, when I used to go through YouTube, I used to be able to do polls. Have you ever learned how to do polls? Oh my God, Kyrie's. Kyrie says, all right,
Okay.
guy. Yeah, Kyrie says, all right, good night, everyone. Keep up the great work, Albert and DC, and let all hope keeps up the great work. Love Spencer and Drew knocking down those old Victor today. Thank you, Kyrie. Kyrie, you are
Clark
you're
Industries.
amazing. Yes. Shout out to Clark Industries, of course. That's my guy right there. And also subscribe to him because he has a channel as well. It's not just crazy that we just have so many people that actually have their own their own YouTube channels.
I actually
Like
like
I
them.
go
I
back and I
watch
just
them
like,
review. They're good.
yeah, crazy. We
How
got
do you
people
feel about
that's
all
coming
these
up
new
under us.
YouTubers coming in? How do you feel about
You
these
know,
these
it's
new
crazy
kids on
because
the
I sit
block?
there. It's crazy because I sit there and I think about James and stuff like that. You know, James been doing it for a while, and so when we come on his channel, he's like, okay, you got some upcoming YouTubers and stuff like that. Now we're here, and we got people that's not there coming up still. Like, how is that? Is that just makes you? Because I know you've been on it for like 2 years or whatever. It's like, does that just make you feel like kind of old? Like, damn, I've been doing this for a hot minute. You know?
I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, because I first started seeing the wave of newcomers coming in when we had I don't know her name, but the GH spoiler. Her channel is called General Hospital Spoilers, which I think she should rename the channel to something else because maybe people might think it's a spoiler channel, not want to go because she really actually does spoilers. She just does reviews.
Oh,
Do you
you
know what
gotta
I'm talking
sit there
about?
and text me that. Yeah, you have to sit there and text me that one because I'll
She's an
definitely.
older lady. She has great reviews. She's so nice and so sweet. She's an older lady, but she calls
Is
the channel
she
General
does
Hospital Spoilers. Go ahead.
does she do YNR also?
Yes.
Okay, so I know you're talking about. I know you're talking about.
But she doesn't really do spoilers. She actually does reviews. I'm like, why do I call her reviews? But I don't know if that's like a marketing thing. You know, she has her own industries going on there, own enterprises. I salute her and I see it. Because she doesn't actually do spoilers. Because when I first saw her channel, I was like, oh, that's a spoiler channel. I'm like, I'm staying away from spoilers. But she actually does great reviews. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
But
definitely shout out
I
to
mean,
her.
yeah, I mean, because there's so many people now. Even Samuel has a YouTube channel. I checked it out. So I don't know if I'm putting you on blast, Samuel, but I checked out his YouTube channel. I like Samuel's channel. I like it.
What?
That's what's
What?
up, bro. That's
Sammy got a YouTube channel? What?
mm-hmm.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta sit there and just kind of pencil that in there. You know, it's really funny because I said this a hot minute ago. I was like, I want Sammy to sit there and get his own YouTube channel, and he actually does. So yeah, I'm gonna have to sit there and check that out. Hold on, let me. I want to get his last name. 'Cause, I'm usually bad with names or whatever, so I want to get his last name. Did the cat jump over something or?
My God, my cat is just. I, she's just trying to shuffle through things right now, and I'm trying to get her together. Cats are supposed to be quiet and domesticated, and reserved, and this is not my cat, unfortunately. They're
All right,
quiet,
cool.
domesticated, and reserved.
I gotta sit there and check out. Saying it's funny too because I was like, there's a couple of people that I want to sit there and have do reviews, and Keisha was one, and Samuel was another one. So I'm gonna have to sit there and check out his channel.
We have GH Baroness or Busybody Baroness, I say name correctly.
Yes, yes,
That's a
yes,
very
yes. You're
interesting
right.
channel. Very interesting. And then Wayne Talks Soaps. They're two I love their recaps. It's very like interesting the way they do it.
Now they have another. Now they have another one. Well, it's more of a podcast. I think it's called podcast 54. No, I
Pier
think it's called
54.
Pier
Pier
54. Yeah,
54.
but they're also on YouTube though. I know they actually have a podcast, but I didn't know they were on YouTube too.
Pier 54 has been around for a minute. I think as long as Brock TV started, but they've never been in YouTube form just yet. So maybe now
Yeah,
they're graduating on over.
because I went to their channel and I saw their podcast stuff, but then I saw like their clips or whatever that they do or that they had or whatever. They had like really old clips of like Morgan and like the first Kiki and stuff like that, like way back when. You remember way back when you actually had Morgan and like the first Christina, first Kiki that was played by that actress that I can't remember her name.
Yeah. And Nikisha made a mention. I was actually Nikisha just about to mention, which is GH Sunday Shift. Have you ever checked them out over GH Sunday Shift?
That's with the three ladies, right?
Yeah, I would love to see them on your channel.
Yeah, we'll make that happen. I gotta sit there and make that happen.
That would be
We'll make
interesting.
that happen. I did see them before though. Yeah, I think it's called GH Sunday Shift. Yeah, I've seen them
With
before.
Tracy and Tanya. Oh God, and that's it. That's only the two names I remember. Sorry about the third person. And there's what's her name? She does okay. The names will come to me later. They will come to me later. I remember their names later.
Now,
There's the other two
Kristen
co-hosts I have there.
Alderson, is that Alderson?
No, no, no,
Kristen
no.
Alderson? Yeah, that wasn't close to
Tra-
it, right?
Tracy, Tanya, Sandra. There we go, Sandra. And then there's but there's another one they have in
No, I'm talking
featured.
about this name though. Like that's the actress that played
Star Manning. Oh yeah,
yeah,
Star Manning. Yeah, Star Manning. Yeah, Star Manning.
okay.
Yeah,
But I did say name right here. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's names of the three ladies that be doing the Sunday show.
But there's so many people I can't keep up. It's so many. It's so many people I can't keep up. It's so
Well,
many of them.
there's also another guy called Port Charles Podcast. I do remember him.
Is it okay? So specifically on the soap port chart or the GH?
No, no, it's specifically on GH.
Okay,
Um,
okay,
on a YouTube channel. Yes, I do remember that.
okay, okay, okay. Wow. Okay, all right. Because you know what I'm saying. So I think it's cool is that when I first started my channel, I remember seeing James. I remember thinking, man, it'd be so cool to do like a video with him one day or be on his channel one day. And I was like, oh, I'm probably not big enough. I remember back in the day, when I first started, you kid on the block. And look at you, Brock TV. Like that is a full circle moment to all four of us. To me, that was like a full circle moment for me.
It was, it was definitely legendary. I would sit there and say for so many reasons, and also for me personally because you're the first person I wound up doing a live collab with. Brock is the person that inspired me to do GH reviews, and James was the person that inspired me to sit there and do live streams. So to actually have him on my channel, and also you had James and Brock. Just think about that for a minute. Those two legendary, reviewers and commentaries and stuff like that. So that was
Four
just,
men,
yeah, talking about
four men
soaps.
talking soaps. Four men talking. Where else have you guys seen that all, guys? Okay, I think possibly Dish Days, but I believe they have a female co-host. Where have you seen all four men, all four black men talking soaps? Come on, guys. Come on now. Name a channel. Name a channel for me. That's that.
It was definitely legendary. And of course, you got Nikisha, Sabrina Faith, and Lanikia. That just I felt like it was just very special and symbolic for us because, like, in so many ways, those two inspired us to do what we do. You know,
Yeah,
it's
I think
crazy.
that
And
was.
then,
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no, I was gonna sit there and say, and of course, the last crossover or the last collab that we wound up doing before your temporary hiatus or whatever, or your hiatus was, of course, me, you, and Brock. You know, back to basics.
Crossover. I love it. So wait, if it's a crossover, who's YNR, who's B&B, who's Days, who's GH? Between you
It's,
being Brock and James.
I don't know. It's hard to sit there and label me as a soap opera. I think that's the problem. I can't even sit there and label myself as a character on a soap opera that I can relate to. So
All right, all right. So let me say this. Okay, then how would you at least put the other three? Me, Brock, and James. If what based off of the remaining four soaps, because each soap has their own characteristics to them.
so really, I feel like it doesn't.
Honestly, they do. They do to me because YNR has always had that business type of soap
Yeah.
thing, and then B&B, fashion world, obviously, that's self-explanatory. GH was the mob and the
Um,
action, the gritty stuff. And then you had Days, which was like your eccentric, good-looking cousin, Like it's kind of weird, but they're good-looking. I was like, all right, like who's this person that's got going on, right? That was Days, right? And Passions was just like that kid in school that was extra quiet and would come out sometimes and talk and would just be super wacky. Every soap had their own personality. Passion was the wacky soap. All My Children was like the very romantic vibe, boom, the glamour show. And then One Life to Live was like the misfits, right? Everyone was come from different walks of life in Lambview, right? It was just like 18 different shows in one on One Life to Live, in a sense.
have a
But
good
with
night,
those
Coach
four,
Sandra.
Good night, Sandra. That was the characteristics I would give those four soaps. That was four. So now, if I pick from the Divine Nine of soaps, uh, James would be Bold and Beautiful Passions.
Bold and Beautiful Passions. I would sit there and say probably more Bold and Beautiful. I would definitely sit there and say maybe more Bold and Beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I would say too. I would say, okay, so I would probably give myself days of our lives. I
What would
think
you
it's
give me? Because I'm still confused about that. What would you give me?
for you. Hmm. I'm gonna say GH, and then maybe I'd give Brock Y&R. Well, actually, no, 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 no. Let me switch that. I'm gonna say Y&R. This is the business acumen in you. I'm gonna give you
Yes,
Y&R.
yeah,
I'm gonna
okay,
give you
I
Y&R.
can see that. I
I
can see
gotta
that
give
because
you Y&R.
I can see that because I'm very. It's so weird because like I'm very structured. Like in all reality, like YouTube is just so crazy for me because like in here I'm very structured. I have my topics or whatever, and just the different methods of what I do. Outside of YouTube, it's very very messy. It's very messy. So like to come on here and like do YouTube or whatever, to have a certain structure, to have a certain time and stuff like that is very not like the outside version of me or the non-YouTuber of me, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. It does. It does. Like I think on YouTube, I am very nice. I'm smiley. I'm all this stuff, and then real life, I'm just like very like straightforward. It's like it's weird on YouTube. I'm giving Bess and Jess, and then I'm giving Jess and Tess on YouTube, and then in real life, I'm giving Bess. You know, like to label Nikki. So you know how Vicky had the altars. So I'm like Nikki Smith here on YouTube, and then in real life, I'm Gene Randolph.
That's the thing. Like I can't imagine you being like, like not to sit there and say like you can't be a dick or anything, because anyone can be a dick. But like I just can't imagine like you're always like laughing, you're smiling, you're having a great time and stuff. I mean, unless your life is just going to hell in a handbasket, I feel like for the most part, I can't imagine you just being like very standoffish and stuff like that. You always seem like you're very just nice in general. So I can't imagine you being something different. Like the way I guess maybe because like with YouTube, I always put like 100% to what I do, right? But like
Right,
let's
right.
just then say cooking and stuff. Bro, I'm not cooking. I'm not having noodles right here, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
The
I'm not sitting
spicy
there putting all this
noodles.
effort. Exactly. I'm not sitting there not too spicy, not like the last ones. Um, but like I'm not sitting there putting a lot of work and time and energy and sitting there eating right, which is why I always eat like crap. But YouTube, I'm very focused and I put in like 150% into myself. So if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does. You know, I would say in real life, I'm not too standoffish, but I'm a little, slightly, a little more reserved than I am on YouTube. YouTube, I'm just like all smiles, and I'm just this. I'm like ah, but in real life, I'm just like, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. Okay. Mm-hmm.
I just, maybe it's just probably one of those things I would actually have to sit there and see in real life to sit there and believe. You know, do you
Yeah,
believe that people have like that much of a different alter as opposed to when you are in real life?
they can. I think they can. You know, I think they can. Because like I said, I'm probably exaggerating. It's probably not that off the kilter for me, but I know some people who can. You know, some people who are probably internet gangsters on YouTube,
Oh
and
yeah,
in real life,
that is very
they would
true. That
never.
is very true.
You know, they'll speak their whole minds in videos on YouTube, but they would not do that in real life. So I think in some ways, um, it could be like that in some ways. It's for some people, depending who they are. Because I think when we hear like we're showing up, we're excited, just like how like celebrities or stars from the soaps, you know, the soaps, their character could be super animated, but in real life, they're putting on their sunglasses, don't want to be seen in the grocery store, trying to be a regular person, just check out, you know what I'm saying, and get them out of there, you know what I'm saying? So, and it's not so far from the persona, but they just might be reserved in real life just because they know they're a lot more of a public figure. And I agree with Keisha Moore. Eat your veggies. You'll feel better.
Yeah, yeah,
You'll
no,
probably get
she is one. No, she is 100% correct about that. But yeah, let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought, like, when you're sitting there doing YouTube or whatever, that you'll sit there and see somebody in like real life, and like, oh, I remember you. I saw you, on this YouTube channel or whatever. Like, have you ever actually thought about that though?
high. I
Like,
did
and
the
how
other
would
day. I
you
was
react? Like, how
the
would you
other
feel about
day. So the other day when I was at the gym, I thought about that. Like, what if someone walked up to me? All right, Jonathan, shout out to you. All right, shout out to you, Jonathan. Shout out.
that? Oh my
Um,
God! Shout out to Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan.
Shout
You
out to
are awesome.
Jonathan.
That's my
I
guy.
had thought of right. But I had thought about it on the gym the other day. I was like, what if I bump into someone and say, hey, DC so sanctuary if I'm at Publix, getting something from the freezer, the frozen pizza from the freezer. DC so sanctuary. And I'm like, who the hell are you? Like, you're DC so sanctuary, are you? And I think, I don't know, I would just react calmly. Now, if it's a subscriber I'm not familiar with, I'd probably be thinking like, I'd probably be hoping my license plate is not showing, walk up to my car. Because your license plate, you can see the address, everything, you look it up online.
Yeah,
Um,
it could be.
but if it was someone that I knew, like let's say Nikisha Moore or Samuel or Ethel or someone that has a picture and I've seen them, then I was like, hey, what's up? But I think for the most part, I'm like, hey, how are you? How you doing? And honestly, I think it'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't be, afraid or anything. I would make sure after meeting them, I'd wait 30 minutes before going to my car just in case, whatever it is. But honestly, I wouldn't have a problem with it. What about you? What about you? What do you think you would do?
I think it would be really awesome, very humbling. I'm doing good, Jonathan. Thank you for asking. I think it'll be very humbling, but I think it'll also be just surprising now too, because like on some level, it would just be very surreal, you know. And I don't know how we'll sit there and take that. I mean, I would obviously take it in a positive way as long as this person's like, not a nut job. I would sit there and take it in a positive way. I'd just be like, all right, that's what's up. That's cool. Like, you know. And of course, remember in our members live stream, I talked about that one person that was just like a total nut job. So again, as long as they're like really cool and stuff like that,
They was
like,
putting
yeah,
it all out there, huh? Right? They was
yeah,
putting it all out. Yeah, yeah. The thing about it is that like I said, if that happened in person, I'd probably like, hey, let's take I'd maybe say, let's take a selfie so I could post to the channel. People can see.
exactly.
Depending on who it was. Depending on who it was. 'Cause I think that would be pretty cool. Um, I have thought about that though, but it hasn't happened yet, but it could. I think it would happen more so probably for you because you and Brock and James have a large following. So I mean, I feel like I'm surprised it hasn't happened to Brock yet, though. Unless maybe
But
it has, you just forgot to tell the story.
I know it happened to James before. And thank you, Daisy Flower. You are awesome. Thank you so much. Um, I appreciate you. Thank you. Even though we disagree on some stuff, I appreciate you. But I know it's happened to James before and stuff like that, and he's just been like chill about it. So I feel like it's one of those things where it's like if it happens and as long as they're cool, I'll be happy. You know,
Yeah, I
I
don't
just
think
I
I'll be
just enjoy my
scared.
time on here though. It's one of those things like if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You know,
Right, right. Yeah, because I feel like in a sense that like if it were to happen, it was nothing to be afraid of. Like I said, I think it'd actually be cool. You probably like,
yeah,
it would probably make you feel like that much more excited, probably even for you yourself, like go home and do that review. You know what I'm saying? Because like, oh wow, like I'm a subscriber, and then tell me I'm listening to the channel, and then you gotta really feel it. You gotta feel touched by it. You gotta really feel touched by it.
it's one of those things where it's like in the beginning when I thought about that, I was like, in some ways I feel like I would made it. It's like people are actually recognizing me and live. But then that's the thing I think about it. It's like I love doing these reviews. So every day, and it sounds kind of weird and kind of corny, whatever, but like every day, I feel like I made it. People are
I feel
here,
that
we're having
too.
time, and I feel like as long as people are having a good time at the end of the live stream, then I did my job, and I can feel good about that. You know?
I will say that too. Your channel is. I've seen all the episode content and I love all of them. But I love the way you organize. I'm not just saying that because we're friends. I'm on here. I was live. If I didn't feel anything, I would just stay quiet. But I really feel like that's what I was saying. I say I just stay quiet. But like the way you organize your channel, I just like the way you do the setup. If I were to ever get to the point to reach 1,000 subscribers and be a paid YouTuber, I would do exactly. I think I would probably mimic the way you have your style set up. It's just I love the way you do it. The 5 days a week, we have everything so organized. You have the members on the weekends. I think it's a really smart setup. And then on the weekend chats, it gets to be a little more intimate where you get to talk with the members. It's more of a chance to really connect with them on a deeper level. And when you first started your chat and you were just interacting with the chat, like I had never seen nobody else do that when they did a chat. It's like they kind of would, but like it wasn't to the fullness thereof of what I saw with you. And I like that. And it made people feel included, made them feel seen. You know what I'm saying? In the
Yeah.
chat.
No, thank you. Thank you. No, I appreciate one. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Um, But I sat there when I started doing my channel. I looked at it and I was like, well, what would I want? How would I want to sit and experience if I was in a live stream? Because here's the thing, I've been in live streams before. It's like I'll sit there and say something, and maybe people will sit there. You see something kind of weird?
Shamar Moore returned to YNR.
Yeah, well, that's next week, so it's
Okay,
not
all
this
right.
week. Yeah, yeah, it's not this
Still kind
week.
of a spoiler though, but all right.
Have a good night,
Okay, but
Krista.
go
Thank
ahead, go
you
ahead.
for joining us. No, but it's one of those things where it's like, see, I remember in your video you sent this saying, in some ways you can go back to just being a reviewer. I mean, you could just go back to just being a fan. Because you're not sitting there worried about doing a live stream, if somebody's sitting there popping out something, and you're just like, oh no, I didn't want to know. Oh wait, it's kind of what I do, so it's kind of what I have to sit there and get used to. What the hell was actually sitting there saying before?
You were. Oh God, I was so lost. I was that comment threw me off.
Yeah, I've
I'm
been
sorry,
drinking,
Shane.
so I'm actually having an excuse for kind of missing what I was sitting there saying. That's why I
God,
was
I'm trying
counting
to
on
remember.
you, DC.
And everyone in the chat is having like a whole sidebar. I was hoping the chat could give me some hints here. Everyone in the chat is having a whole entire sidebar. They have the whole entire sidebar here in the chat.
I think I was
I
sitting
know
there
we were
talking
talking.
about like you being you going back to being just a regular fan as
Yeah,
opposed to a
yeah.
YouTuber. Oh, yeah, I think he was talking about me. Okay, so
And how organized you were. Yeah.
yeah, no, thank you. But I sat there and I was like, I've been in other live streams where it's like people have barely sit there and said something to me, or they're talking. And this is something that Kyrie has said one time too. It's like they're talking, but they're doing a video. They're not doing a live stream. So it's like, yeah, they're live streaming, but it's like they're just talking like they're doing a regular video, which doesn't
Right.
really feel like you're interacting with the people that's in your chat. And I didn't want to
Right.
do that. And
Right.
it's something that DC said. I mean, it's something that Dion Corner said is that when he does his videos, he does it for the people that comes in. He's not doing it for the people that's watching afterwards. So if you want to sit there and know what's going on or whatever, you come to the live streams. Because I remember somebody actually made a comment about his video, his review, and I sat there and I read that twice, and I was like, one, you're a dick. You shouldn't be sitting there telling him how to do a review. And second of all, it just in general. And second of all, like, yeah, he's sitting there talking about different things. He's kind of going off tangent a little bit because he's doing it live. He's talking to people live.
Yeah.
If he was doing a regular video, then that'd be something different, you know?
And I feel like that's part of what the live is for. We're talking souls, but we're also connecting with that YouTuber on other stuff too. Like this is part of the live stream. Anything can happen. Like if we're just gonna do the soaps, that's when you just go to the review. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The live is it's. I like how you do that too, where you have a topic on your live, but you allow it to be open ended at the same time. You know, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. You allow it to be also open ended as well, and I like that. So it's like I'm coming in, I'm starting off with this topic, but sometimes we're gonna get into some other stuff. And we're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna go a little bit where things take us. I like that. I appreciate that. I
Yeah,
like that
no,
for you
no,
a
thank
lot.
you. I thank you. I just, again, when I sit there doing these live streams, whatever, I'm always sitting there trying to learn from other people. So I understand that, like, when they're doing their live stream, whatever, they're very strict about. They want to sit there and keep on topic. They don't want to sit there and kind of veer off, and I can respect that.
Yeah, a lot of
But for
YouTubers do
me,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But for me, like maybe after like 20 or 30 minutes or whatever, it's like, listen, if y'all want to sit there and talk about VR troopers or pirates or whatever, we're gonna sit there and talk about that. It's not, where it's like, oh, well, you gotta sit there and talk about this, you gotta sit there and stay on topic. No, I'm not a dictator. This is supposed to be fun and entertaining and stuff. Now, if people are sitting there getting kind of out of control and they're sitting there talking about things like politics, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna go there. But for the most
Right.
part, if it's fun, if it's fun as entertainment, and people sit there talking about, oh, what did you sit there and think of you? What did you sit there and think of Cobra Kai? I'm gonna sit there and talk about that because that's what we're here for. We're here for fun. I just don't want it to sit there and be dictatorship where it's like, hey, I told you to sit there and talk about GH. We're talking about GH right now. What the hell is wrong with you? It's like I don't want to be
Get
that
back to
person.
talking about GH.
Yeah,
Get back to
exactly.
that GH talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I love your members lodge. Members like, ooh, at the parties. That's what the real party is, guys. That
Yeah,
members lodge.
yeah.
That's the real parties. That we had some conversations in those members lives.
By the way, that first time we actually went sideways, I did not expect that to go sideways. That was not my plan. I was just met there sharing stuff, and then we just kind of went from that point. And
Oh,
yeah, but
because
I think that's
we talked about Victor, and then that's the
yeah,
conversation
yeah,
went off into.
yeah. There you go. There you
That
go.
was that was a good memory chat. Not gonna lie, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that.
That was
They put my
definitely one
in
for the books.
context. That was a
That was
good
definitely one for the books because we learned a lot of stuff.
And see, that could have happened in the General Members Live. General Members, we love you guys, but that couldn't have happened. That chat couldn't have been as successful in General Members Live just because it would have been too open sesame, and that had to be in more of a contained space.
Yes, yes, I agree with every single goddamn thing that you said. Yes.
I wouldn't have been as open like that. I was like on a general live as I would have that Members Live. 'Cause
I
I was
don't
a little
think the
too
people in
open,
the I don't think that the people in the chat would have been as chatty if we weren't so comfortable and chill and everything like that. So it was definitely an experience.
Right, right. And that's the thing too I like is that I feel like you build and foster this community where people are open, they're sharing things, sharing experiences. And in some ways you actually inspire me to kind of even be more open about my channel, be more open, be more, you know what I'm saying, put more stuff out there. Not like I'm writing like a tell-all book or this is like Tamron Hall or anything. But but just to be more open because like I said, people come for the reviews but they stay for you, they stay for your perspective. Sometimes when I watch episode GH, I'm like, okay, let me go quick see what our thought this day because episode was crazy, or I see you and Brock, I'm literally going for what you guys said. It's not even so much about the recap because like you said, we've already seen the show, we already know what it's about. I definitely don't want to recap, but I do want that. Like when Kyrus is like, "Oh, we don't f with Nina. This is why I cannot f with you." Kyrus saying that as one review. I was like, I was laughing. I felt that, because I'm like, we're there for that. We're there for that aspect. Or like when people are watching my videos, yeah, I'm recapping this or doing that, but you're really going for, my commentary or me throwing a little shade at certain characters. How Dante and Sonny are still friends after Sonny shooting him. Was that point blank range? You know what I'm saying?
Didn't he
So
lose a spleen or something like that? No, maybe that was Spinelli, but yes. Yeah, and it's funny too, and thank you for saying that. And it's funny too, because like when I sit there and I watch your videos and stuff, you're not just talking about Nina and Sonny, or you're not just talking about and and Sally for a minute. You're sitting there giving your personal opinion. Well, you're giving your personal experience because you're sitting there saying, "Look how they treat their last ex," you know, and that's a personal nod to yourself. That's a personal nod of something that you've been there, And I feel like, well, I'm just not to say, I feel like people can sit there and connect to that a lot more because they're not just not there thinking like, okay, yeah, I can see that. But it's like, okay, DC has actually have experience with dealing in a situation like that. This is what I'm here for. That personal touch. It's not so much that they're saying like, oh well, Adam and Sally are having problems. It's like, no, you're giving more context to it and you're putting a little bit of your personality or your little bit of experience in there without getting super, super personal, you
right,
know?
right. Because that's what I feel too. I feel like if I was dating someone and they had a child with someone else and they were doing that person dirty, I would be giving them the side eye for some reason because I would think like if you do that to them, what's this? You're not gonna do that to me. And it's because just because at this moment I'm the beneficiary of the good side of you, and over time that can easily switch over. So that's some things I look at person. That's why I can't mess with Adam. I know everybody else does, but I stay with Nick. Nick is not the best character. Maybe for somebody not the best character I know, but he treats the mother of his children right. He has their back. Okay,
You
maybe
better not,
not when they're married.
you,
He
you,
has
you better
someone
not,
else's
you
back.
better not, you may not have Kyrie sit there and hey, you sit there and say that. 'Cause I'm gonna sit there and punch his ass. I'm trying to keep
You
on
know what I'm
that
saying?
guy's good side.
So you know what I'm saying. So have other people's back, but I mean, I agree. It's that personal touch there that they are looking for. Answer real quick, Samuel. Samuel, we do talk about other soaps. I talk about all the 9 soaps, Samuel. If you check my channel, you'll see other. So we'll talk about all the 9 soaps, but um, it is a personal touch they're looking for. It is that personal touch because we give our personal commentary and we give our take. And I think over time I started to realize how to do that as a soap viewer because in the beginning when I first did the channel, I was like, oh, I don't want to say this. So I told the tone started
Yeah.
getting a little stepped on. It was giving ants the movie. So, And but then afterwards I started getting to be able to be more open and more vulnerable on the channel. I think that helped too. I think that actually helped me do reviews better by being more open, more vulnerable. Kind of like when I was, Esme, and I was saying on my reviews how I was happy that she told, Spencer, I'm not going to prove myself to you no more. Because I've been like that. I've been in a relationship before where, yes, I was on, some stuff went out. And I told the person I was dating at the time, I was like, I'm not proving myself to you anymore. I'm not. I said what I said. I apologize. Take it or leave it. And I said just like that. I told her. I was like, take it or leave it. I'm not apologizing no more. And they said, okay, all right. All right, understandable. Understand. I just want to get my point across. Yeah, because the thing is, like sometimes, when you when you tell people that you're not gonna prove yourself to them more, they start calming down a little bit because they know you can't bully them no more. And I was happy that Esme stood up for himself. Let us person know you can't bully me no more. I'm not gonna. I don't care if I don't know who I am.
But see, that's the thing, though, DC, and I feel like you've been more open with your subscribers because of that relationship you have with your subscribers. You know,
Right.
the fact that they support you, and like you said, you give that level of vulnerability, and it's not where it's just like, yeah, because I do remember in the beginning you was like, listen, I want to sit there and kind of keep this more about the soaps and more about my commentary, but not really so much about me being personal. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
because of your subscribers, it allowed you to open up and be more vulnerable and be like, listen, I'm going to sit there and talk about this stuff, you know? And I feel like that's, again, not to sit there and kind of reiterate, but see, that's why we sit there and feel like how much I care and love and respect my subscribers. Um, because they allow me to sit there and be vulnerable. They allow me to sit there and make mistakes. And they understand that I'm not perfect, but I will always sit there and try to be a better person than I was before, you know?
Right. And
Uh,
the thing is too is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, and I was going to sit there and say, and like, I guess for me, Me Smith is saying, quote unquote, we're the number one live stream soap opera, soap opera live stream or whatever. I say it because of the people in the chat. Not really so much because of me, because at the end of the day, I'm the host. I sit there and say a couple of things, but it's everyone else that gives me that energy, that gives me that confidence to even sit there and say something like that. You know?
Yeah. 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 And I mean, honestly, I feel like I said, I do feel like you have one of the best. Like I was enjoy live stream. I know what's coming on, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hop on in. I was enjoying. I love the commentary. And the thing is too, when we give the commentary and the soaps, it's what we see in ourselves, the characters, right? It's what we see because some of the characters I defend, I see myself in them. I guess I do see a little myself in Nina. I admit it. That's why I go so hard for Nina, or I go so hard for Nate, because even with Nate, I know what it's like to be in a relationship with someone who you feel like who doesn't believe you, and you think the grass is green on the other side, but it's not. Now, I've never done what Nate does. I never sucked my boss. Never done that before. I never done that before, but I know what it's like to be in a relationship where you feel like doesn't believe in you, and someone you feel like you've sacrificed everything for, and they seem ungrateful. I don't feel like Elena's ungrateful, but go keep that where it is tonight. But it's like what we see in ourselves in these characters and how we relate to them, right? And I think we are both on one accord that we do see Spencer on GH as a prick. I do see that too. I don't see what's between the season him, but we're gonna go with it. But it's what we see in ourselves in these characters. So I do see myself in Nina. That's probably why I resonate with her so much because I used to be a Nina. I think back in the day where I felt like not like everything was owed to me, but things were robbed from me, and I felt like proper penitence wasn't given by people. Like, I didn't get the proper remorse or apologies. And so you're holding this grudge, you're walking in with it. And as a result, you're self destructing and putting yourself in situations you shouldn't be in. But then also at the same time, those people are not helping either, like Carly and company. So I understood exactly. Oh, that's how Justice Scott.
It's funny how we zeroed in on the exact same comment. That was hilarious. That was hilarious.
You see somebody else.
I'm so glad that we both peeped that at the same time because, like, literally, we just zoomed on that, like, oh, yeah, okay, I can see Josh. Yeah, mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. But honestly, no, this is exactly what I understand either because I feel like I know what that's like, but now I'm not as self-destructive as she was. And same with Nate, I know what that's like where you feel like someone is not standing by you But I've learned now if I'm in a relationship with someone I feel like they don't support me and they're not there for me, I'm just going to exit instead of now compromising my character in the process and I look like the bad guy in the end because I didn't step aside and excuse myself on shit. That is the difference between I would say when I look at me and Nate, but Nina, I feel that because this is a woman who's been a coma for 20 years. She didn't know Nell was her daughter. And I think had Carly told her, there could have been a chance that maybe Nina could understand, but she didn't give Nina that opportunity. And then now she's taking Nina's second daughter away. That's why Nina's like, I'm coming for your neck. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming for your neck. I see what Daisy Flower said. Daisy Flower, in some ways, but I think some ways Nina does play victim, but not all the way. Not all the way. There's sometimes I feel it's legitimate. Sometimes. But like I said, Nina is about to have her second daughter taken from her. And like you said, they didn't call Nina. And so that's why Nina's like, I'm coming for Carly's neck. So let's call this SEC, and I'm coming for her. And I kind of understood it. This is gonna backfire her, I'm sure, but I get it. I get it.
And it's funny too because I think that's another reason why we generally love soaps because there's a lot of times when we watch these shows, we see ourselves in some of these characters. Which
Yeah,
what it really comes down to is we also are very protective of these set of characters. This is the reason why we always sit and have these conversations every night. I'm sitting there saying, "Oh, I don't like Nina because of this, or I like Carly because of that." And of course, you got Big Sam. It's like, well, I can understand what Sam, where Nina's coming from because this, that, and third. Because we just connect with these characters so much. Because on some level, we either rock with these characters for a certain reason. We've been where these characters have been, or we felt like where these characters have felt like. You know.
yeah. And that's the thing too, is like there's like Michael. Michael's probably the one JH character where I literally see, oh Lord, I know it's gonna come from me now because but I see like 85% of myself in Michael Corinthos. 85%. And I know what that's like to have a strained relationship almost in a sense with family members. So that's why I relate with Michael's journey in some ways. But I see 85% myself, Michael Corinthos, some ways. Good 85%. Good 85%.
A high
85%
number.
myself. I know it is really high, right? Because Nate, I want to say I'm going to get 40%. Nina, maybe 50, 55. But Michael, I'm going to say 85. 85% with Michael. And with Nick, I want to give Nick an 85% too. I could say a good 85% myself and Nick. Minus the double cheating on two spouses part. But
But it's really crazy. So like, as fans, we when we watch these shows in general, we always connect with these shows because of the characters, how we see ourselves, how we may relate to these characters and stuff. So when it becomes, we're talking about these characters as reviewers and stuff, it gets a little bit more interesting because, where do we draw the line between talking about these characters as opposed to being like, well, I can understand from Nina's point because of this, that, and third, but you have to sit there and separate yourself and be like, technically, what Carly did, or what Nina did, or what Sonny did wasn't right because of X, Y, Z. It's like, it's this very fine line between seeing ourselves in these characters, but also being like, yeah, what you did was kind of wrong. What you did was kind of effed up. There was a
yeah,
lot of times with you where you accepted instead of like, listen, I rock with Nina because I kind of relate to Nina and I just like Nina character in general. But as a reviewer, just kind of seeing it from the outside of it, you kind of effed up, and it's kind of hard for me to sit there and defend you on some of the BS that you've done. You know?
yeah. Yeah, the SEC thing was hard. I couldn't, it was hard for me to defend Nina. It was hard. It was hard. It was hard for me to defend Nina on the SEC thing. So I'm like, come on, don't. This is like putting your foot in your mouth, and this is just like adding more fuel to the fire. And now they're gonna have something to say, and have something more to add to the little scoreboard for Nina. This is a thing and they're gonna add to the little scoreboard for Nina. There is one soap character. I won't say the name, and I will never say what the soap character is. But there's one soap character in GH. Literally, their whole storyline arc, the whole entire show has been my whole entire life. I was like, man, it looks like I won't say what the character is. I'll be
you
telling
know
my
what they're gonna
business.
so you know what they're gonna sit there and do, right? They're gonna sit there and try to like match your personality to whatever characters that's on the show. So they're gonna
They'll
do
never
that.
guess it. They'll never guess it. They'll never guess the character.
I don't know if I actually want to know now.
Nah, I'll never say the character. But honestly, I have to agree. In terms of just like with Nina, this SEC thing and what she did and calling it. But I get why she did it though. It's like her daughter's about to die. You're keeping her away, and that's why I'm like, Carly, maybe if you stop making Nina feel like an outsider, she'll stop acting like one. You know what I'm saying? She'll stop acting like one. Maybe if you just maybe well, it's not the Carly, but Carly is setting the tone. Willow is just following Michael and Nina's lead. That's how I feel personally. She's just following their lead, in a sense. She's just following their lead. Not gonna say. I'll leave that as a mystery.
Did you know that I was gonna say? Oh yeah, of course you did, because you saw the damn
Yeah,
arrow.
yeah, yeah. I saw it. But like Michael and Carla are setting that tone, and Willow was she's just following along with them. She's just following along with them. She's just setting that tone. She's just following along with them. But I mean, if anything, Carly should realize, you know what? Let me allow Nina. Yeah, and Jessica's right. Willow and Nina did have beef from the beginning, but to me, I feel like the way they were writing Nina and Willow was like Vicky and Megan Gordon from Life to Live. Although Vicky wasn't as stubborn or putting herself in bad position like the way Nina was. But that's the thing. Nina needs some community around her. She don't have no community. She don't have no friends of the show. Like it's few and far between. It feels like she's on her
Friends-
own.
I was gonna sit there and say, like, how many friends does she have? She has Ava. She has Curtis, and she has. I feel like that's pretty much about it.
And
Unless I'm missing.
I'm tired of seeing Ava cower to Carly. I don't know what this. You're a whole mob boss, and she's like, give her a chance. Nina's a chance. We all need second chances. Never comes time. And I'm like, and then Carly's just like, I'm listening to you, and of course, and I'm like, see, this is what happens when you cower to people. It lets them keep going on their mess with you, and I feel like he's just. I'm looking at him like, what are you doing? And then Carly's like, yeah, what you did to Morgan? Yeah, what you did to Morgan? And then and then Ava's just like, well, listen, you never know how much time you're gonna have, so you just don't know. Listen, can you watch hear from me? Like, what can you watch Avery from me? Why go out? And I'm just like, sis, like, really, you're a whole mob boss who killed Connie Falconieri, and this is what we're getting from you? Okay, I get it. They have to humanize Ava for her to last and be a character. They're trying to reconfigure her character, so I'll digest it for now. I digest
No,
it
no,
for
but
now.
you're 100% not wrong about that. And what's good, Jennifer P? It's actually really good to sit there and see you in the chat. Haven't seen you in the chat like in a while, so it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. And I don't want to sit there and say like DC's like swan song or his last dance or anything like that. But, it was just not there taking a pause, so taking a
I'm gonna,
pause.
and I'm gonna miss. I'm gonna miss. Well, I'm saying I'm gonna miss as I'm never gonna come back. I think I still have the opportunity to come back, but I love the idea. I love how not the idea, but just me being able to talk about soaps and give my opinion. And I think I've been more raw these past few weeks in past videos. Like I said, I do reserve the right to come back because there might be a storyline to come back, and I was like, I gotta give a little take on this, like do something on this. But I know for now I've gotta just kind of take that pause. But it has been nice, even over these past few months, from time to time, watching just the soaps as a regular viewer, because I was like, it allows me to fall in love with the show. Because when you're a viewer, you're critiquing the show more heavily because you're about to review it. So it's like you're looking for things that are bad, but when you're just a regular viewer, everything is okay with you, almost in a sense.
Yes,
I
no, no,
mean,
you're right. It's funny too because I've said that, you said that, and even James have actually said that as well. It's like it was just nice that you're just watching it as a viewer. Um, but what it also really comes down to, because granted, I don't know if we can sit there and talk about this or not, but just in general, Jesus Christ,
what are you gonna talk about?
no, it's nothing crazy or anything like that. But I do remember you saying like it's very, you don't want to feel like you're putting out a video just to put out a video. So like instead of
Yeah,
snitching, because like a lot of times it was like there's new stuff that's going on and stuff like that you may not be able to catch up to. So it's like you do like a top, matriarchy or patriarchy kind of thing, just to put out something. And granted, they're good videos, but it's because also like I can't always sit there and keep up with the stuff, but I want to sit there and do something that I think that could be fun as an alternative. And the
yeah,
pressure I guess in some ways, in the pressures is that they're trying to keep up with what's going on. When you have another life, you have things that you're sitting there doing. And I remember, I think I was sitting there going to work or whatever, and I was like, when you get to the point where you feel like you have to get pressure, when you have to feel pressure to sit there and try to not necessarily keep up with the
Yeah,
Joneses, but keeping up what's going on and kind of doing stuff that's current, and you have other things that's going on, it's not fun. It becomes a
yeah,
requirement, and you don't want it to get to a point where it's not fun and you feel like you're burnt out or whatever, which is why you start taking more breaks because you got other things going on, and I
yeah,
think that's why I sat there and said, like, when I said that your heart wasn't in it, I didn't mean it in a bad way. I just meant it more like, you're not really sitting there trying to be like, or I got something trying to make I keep up with this or I do this or whatever. It's like, bro, I got other things going on. I got a midterm tomorrow. I can't, I'm saying? Like, I can't sit there and be doing this right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like I don't enjoy it, but I got that going on and that's important as well, you know?
yeah. Because honestly, it was like that for the longest time because it was like I couldn't produce the videos the way like I once did, which is understandable. Just the way life is going and unfolding. And like I said, that's why I was like, you're right. That's why I was doing those top five videos because they're timeless. Anybody can go back and watch them. Whereas, I know I couldn't do the review quickly that week because the only time I would have was the weekends. And if I didn't get out that weekend, I was like, okay, don't even waste your time because now we're in the new week. And so no one's gonna go back to watch, use those things. But like I said, the content that I did put out, I was okay with the timeless piece of the top five and stuff because that's always there for anybody to watch. I even had somebody just comment on one of the top five. So you should do primetime shows, do primetime, which primetime soaps, which we all know how I feel. Primetime shows are not soaps. That's how I feel. That's how I feel. They are primetime dramas. That's soaps that I feel. But it was more easier. And like I said, and I obviously had a lot going on. I was going for interviews for grad schools and stuff at that time, and all this other stuff was going on. I had to get finals done, ready in time for graduation, and all this stuff. And so it was just like I said, just making sure I was doing something that was going to work for me. Because when I first started, I was going to do 5 days a week. I was like, yeah, I can't keep up with this. I got to be real with myself. I'm not gonna be able to keep up with it. It's not gonna work. And especially since my videos, I'm always doing all these editing and these videos and clips and stuff. Those things like I said, that one like to live video, you guys see 52 minutes, but that took me a course of 5 days to do that video, right?
Oh,
Yeah, it took me a course of that. That was probably the longest time, and I purposely that I split it up over time over a couple of days just so I'd have time to breathe in between. Because sometimes I could be editing video for hours, like 5 hours, and like time pass, like oh my god, like 5 hours of this video, So because it took a long time, but I did that because I wanted to just have some and incorporate some fun into it. But those things took time, and to do that in a 5 days a week on ensemble would have been kind of tough. When you're adding this stuff in, it's gonna take hours, and YouTube's gonna take its own couple of hours to upload it and process it.
yeah.
So I was like, okay, that's gonna be something on its own. That's gonna be something on its own. But like this said, I didn't want it to feel like work. I know at times it kind of did because I realized I couldn't keep up with that. But like I said, I loved it. I have no regrets. Like I love doing some YouTube. I think it was the safest YouTube to do. It was the safest, most enjoyable, most enjoyable.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Because again, you got me, you got you, we got Brock or whatever. We always hang out. We always sit there and talk. We always have a great time. We won't have to sit. We may not sit there and do a video in like maybe 3 months, but then when we come back, it's like we didn't miss a step.
Right,
And it's not
right.
like it's an animosity thing where it's like, oh, you get more views than I do. It's like, no, we're just sitting there, three guys sitting there having a good time, talking about
Yeah.
soaps and rapping and stuff like that. You got
Don't you
James that
love
comes
that?
in there. Yeah, you got James that comes in there, and it's just fun. We're not sitting there thinking like crabs in the barrel. But when you not to sit there and say you lose that magic, but it's like when it becomes, I don't want to sit there and say a chore, but it's like where it becomes where it feels like you feel like you have to put something out. And what are you doing? You
Yeah.
know?
And that's why I will say that I'm always open to come back on this channel and for a time. If like I just won't be posting any videos on my channel. I know that well. That I'm taking a break for. So if you ever want to invite me on to come on talk so I know I'll be glad to do. I'll be excited to do that. I will. I will. So it's like because this is always fun. It's always enjoyable. Like I said, I went through a lot of ups and downs in life. People came and go, relationships came and go. One thing that was consistent was the soaps. They're about to be non-consistent if they keep dropping off like they do. We don't have no more left to watch. but that was the only that was consistent with soaps. And so that's why when I started the channel, I said, you know what, I'm gonna do a soap channel because the content is provided for me. I don't have to force the content. I don't have to find the content for my own life. It's provided for me. The network and the soaps are providing the content for me to talk about every single day.
Well, I think it goes without saying that obviously I'm going to sit there and have want you on the channel whenever you feel like joining, whenever you want to join it, whatever, like how we usually do. You be like, hey, you want to come through? I'm like, all right, let's make it happen. So
Yeah.
I think that kind of that goes without saying. And I know that the channel, I know that everyone in the channel, whatever, it's like, hey, they'll feel the same way, but as far as you coming through, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. 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 I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's funny because like it's not really a goodbye. It's just more like some breathing space. This way you don't have
Yeah.
to feel like you have to do it, or you like, hey, I may not be able to do it. It's like no, just take a chill, step back. Whenever you want to sit there and come through, whenever you want to sit there and pick up your own channel, you can. But it's not a requirement, you know.
Yeah, yeah, I did the same thing too. That's why I was like, I don't think I want to like completely just shut that door forever. You know what I'm saying? I wanna leave the door open. It's kind of like when a character dies in the soap, but you don't find the body. So this is like one of those situations because it leaves the door open.
Um, Thank you, Jennifer. Yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you. Um, yeah, no, and I felt like it was kind of better instead of just saying a final goodbye because it's like
Yeah,
you just come back whenever you want, but it's not where it's like people understand that hey, listen, if I don't come back in like 2 months, it's not because anything bad, it's just because I have other things going on, and that's just how it is. I think
because
it's smart to
even
do it.
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I keep
Yeah, I was gonna say,
interrupting.
yeah, I think it was just smart to sit there and do it that way. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree. I think that that was because at first I was gonna make it like permanent. I was like, no, that's not smart. Like, leave the door open. You never know what's gonna happen, and you love this channel because soap YouTube, even though it's YouTube, it doesn't feel like YouTube. It's like its own little world. I feel like it's like its own little island sometimes. Like to me, I feel like it's like YouTube is Days of Our Lives, and we're like Beyonce. That's how it feels to me at times. That's a good analogy. Like two different
Yes,
worlds. You
yes.
know, but that's how it feels because it's a different type of camaraderie. And I mean soap YouTube, I'm talking about the soap commentators. It's just a whole different type of camaraderie. I mean, I know there's people out there also doing other TV reviews and like that, but it's just soap YouTube is just it's just very different. There's a love and there's a connection that we all have as soap viewers. I mean, we were watching shows for some not five, sorry, 10, 20 plus years. Where these primetime people, they don't been on for a couple of years. So that's why I don't call it soaps. I don't call it soaps. We come on my channel, call them fake soaps. They are primetime dramas. All right. But for me, like I said, it's been the opportunity to just be able to connect with so many people because I feel like man, like I'm Ethel, the Keisha, and like I feel like I know these subscribers by names. Other YouTubers don't know their subscribers by name like that. Let's be real. A lot of it's only in so YouTube so far that I feel like I've seen that like community. Even on Sabrina HGA's channel, JLJ Media's channel, Rock TV's channel. Like that's the only kind of place you've kind of seen that. Especially with like Sabrina Faith and you and Nikia and James, because guys who all do live streams. So you really get that extra chance to connect with people.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the main reasons why I love doing. That's one of the main reasons why I love that they're doing that, like the live streams. Also, there may be days I may not sit there and do a review on days, but I'll sit there and talk about it in the chat. So I'll be like, hey, want to sit there and come through. This way you can sit there. If you want to hear my opinion, you want to sit there and kind of go back and forth with me. You can sit there and do it then. Um, so I really love doing the live streams. And I gotta sit there and shout out my guy James, in general because you know I just love to connect them with other soap fans and stuff.
Right, right. I mean, honestly, it's fun because I'm still gonna be coming up in the chat from time to time. Well, I just make sure I watch the soaps first before I go in here. Because I mean, I love this network and this community. I don't know, I absolutely love it. Nikisha said she spends more time with us and some of her friends in her real life. It's kind of the same for me too. Most of my
Yeah,
friends are all over the country, so but it's like
5 days a
because
week, 5 to 7 days a week. Yes.
there's a community that's here. You know, Sam will come in and start stuff in the chats about adventure storylines. It's always something we always get to look forward to. He finds it
That's,
cheesy, but that's the cornerstone of soaps, Sam. Remember that. They're cornerstone of soaps. It's adventure storylines. Go ahead, Albert. Sorry.
no, I was gonna sit there and say I did that on James this week when I came in a live stream because he was sitting there talking about the whole strike thing or whatever. And I don't know if he was in there, but I was like, well, I sit there. I have two different, different, two different viewpoints or whatever. And James on like, ah, here you go, Albert, here you go. And then I said what I said, and he was like, no, Albert, you're not gonna sit there and pull me. You're not gonna sit there and do it. I was like, see, that's my guy James right there. Like I just had to come in there and start some trouble and just sit there and just leave because like that's just how it is. But I love that relationship, that back and forth, that fun stuff with James. Um,
Yeah, that fun debate. Kind of like that fun style. We kind of just like it's like you guys disagreeing, but it's like that fun debate kind of style. Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, because at the end of the day, he was looking at this and was like, I'm gonna sit there and come through with the smoke. And of course, James started laughing because he understands that what we do when we say something, it's open for interpretation. So we're definitely gonna sit there and get the smoke. So it's like we're aware that when we say something, consequences be damned is gonna fall upon us.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right. I agree. I agree. And honestly, like because when you're on this platform, you have to be, I want to say brave, but like it takes a certain kind of person to put themselves out here on a platform like that and put themselves out there. Like, we have Last Stand Earth, Mr. Man, Kyrie Clark, all these new people putting themselves out there. And I'm really proud of them. I'm really proud to see that people are like, I want to get my opinion out here. This is inspiring me. I want to do some of this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of happy to see that. I really am. I'm looking happy to
I
see
am,
that.
I'm very proud. It's weird because like knowing them as subscribers, watching them do their own thing. Like I'm not sitting there saying like what we do is the hardest thing in the world, but what we do is like we have to sit there and walk this very fine line where it's like what you say, people will interpret it. And granted, like for me, I could sit there and be like, well, I'll sit there and put something out, and like whatever I say. And I don't really care about anyone's opinion. And I'm gonna sit there and say, it. In reality, if somebody says something that's like really hurtful, I'm not gonna sit there and try to pretend like, well, damn, that was, oof,
Yeah.
how's that one?
Yeah.
But you have
Yeah.
to sit there. You can't sit there and be afraid to sit there and put yourself out there. You just have to understand. Then we've been doing this for a while. You're gonna piss off some people, regardless if you have the best intentions or not. You know.
Right. Right. Right, that's true. Right, I agree. I agree because, like, I mean, we're there to kind of provide some entertainment, some kind of relief for people. Because for some people, we have our lives, we tap into our soaps, and we're have some fun commentary. We're not looking to be offended or for someone to kind of just stir up our day and make it wrong. Neither are we trying to do that. You know what I'm saying? Here to give our take and for you to enjoy what it is that we saw. What was our perspective of the show?
Yeah, and I one of the things I really do love is that when I go on these lives and I talk about characters and things of that nature, I learn stuff. Like I feel like it's a give and take because there's a lot of times that people have sat there and said stuff about like Nick, and these are things that I didn't even know about. So when I'm sitting there wondering like, why does people have so much problems with Nick? People will sit there and be like, well, this, that, and there, and it's just like, oh wow, okay, that's kind of a lot. I can understand where you guys are coming from. I can understand where people are coming from. So I also love that too, that learning experience. So because when I sit there and do my reviews, it's like, well, I can understand where people that don't like Nick or whatever because the stuff I heard last night. So I feel like it gives me so much to sit there and work with, and I just appreciate having everyone's opinions because I may not agree with them, but have a good night, Tamara. I may not sit there and agree with everyone, but I can sit there and learn, and I feel like that just kind of helps me be a better reviewer. So, you
Can
know,
I say something? I'm really happy that you opened up your arsenal and started watching other soaps because, well, me, I watched all nine at one point in time. Like, I already said, I think I said the last one was on live, right? On
yeah,
here,
I
where I had
remember,
like
yeah,
the
you
week.
did, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I watched all nine soaps at one point in time, As World Turns, everything. So I'm happy because I feel like just only watching GH is just such a limited view
Yeah,
of soaps. It's so like, it's so
yes.
boxed in. So I'm happy you like open that up now And you know, you get to see Days and YNR BB. I wish you would have seen like Aswell Turns and Guy White and All My Children and One Life to Live. You said you watched One Life to Live. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced.
No, but you know,
But you know,
it's funny because I do remember you sitting there saying that, and I actually told you I gotta thank you for that because you know it's like you said it's not so narrow. Like don't get me wrong, there's people that just do general hospital. There's some people that just do Y and R and stuff like that, which I feel like it's fine because it's within your comfort zone, it's within your time and stuff like that. But they have the time to sit there and do it. I have the time to sit there and watch all four of them, and I just feel like I feel like it's so much more to talk about. It just gives a better live stream experience because I can sit there and connect with people that watch B&B, that watch Days and stuff like that. So it's. Are you read that too?
yeah, I read those comments too.
Yeah, this is why I always love my guy Samuel in the chat because he always keeps it 100. But I just love the idea of some people because some people come in and they just watch Y&R and they just watch B&B. I love the fact that I connect with other people that don't just watch GH because it's more to talk about. You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just creates a better live stream experience.
What convinced you to watch more of what convinced you to watch other three soaps?
I think it was you. I think it was you
Well,
actually.
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was. I
Yeah,
think it
yeah, it was
was.
you. Because you
I
know
think it
what you
was.
said that you was like, you know, why don't you do reviews on other soaps and stuff like that? So this way, you know, people that may not watch Y&R or you may connect with some Y&R fans, you may connect with some B&B fans. That's literally what I wound up doing. So you got to sit there and thank my guy DC for sitting there putting me on that train. You know,
Cause you know what, like you only watched James for 20 years, and like I said before, you said you watched One Life to Live, but you know I'm gonna need to see some proof. But you know, you said you watched James for 20 years, and I'm like, you know, like you gotta watch some other soaps. I mean, of course I understand like we only have so much time today, but I'm like, I think it'd be so cool. I know there's no way you could have watched all nine like I was. I didn't have no life back
yeah,
then. So real, but but I know that if you were to watch another four, you can expand and see how the other soaps are. And because to me, I feel like because I've seen different soaps besides just the ABC ones, because I started with All My Children, then it was One Life to Live, then it was GH, and then I opened up the arsenal for the rest. It allowed me to like almost have like this compare and contrast because you know I'm always referencing all these different soaps and all
yes,
these
no,
different
no, yeah,
comparisons I have.
yeah,
You know, I always have
I've
all
done, you
these
know,
comparisons. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, I was gonna sit there and say I've done that too. Though there's times where I'll
Yeah,
sit there and watch like GH, and I'll sit there and think about something on Y&R or B&B, or I'll sit there and watch Days, and I'll sit there and think about something on Y&R and B&B or GH. So yeah, I think it's very honestly, to tell you the truth, it's very good because it does give you an extra perspective, and you're just like, well, this, you know, like I'll sit there and compare like Nina to like Phyllis or whatever, you know. Like there's a video I'm actually putting out for the members as far as you know, with the perfect soap opera character, you know.
right,
And that doesn't mean that it's somebody that you necessarily like or you agree with the things that they're doing, but like the messiness of it, the flaws, the character flaws within these characters, within these soap characters, and the fact that I have more to draw from because I just, you know, I watch all the soaps. So
right.
also yes, stay tuned for that because that one's gonna come out maybe tomorrow. So yeah.
Yeah, because you have something new in your arsenal now. That you like I said, you when you've seen all four now, you have a different perspective. Like even on B&B with their B&B to me is like they still have some of those classic soap elements, such as like the music and the dun 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 dun, and the whole the stairs, and they have B&B still got a lot of that classic some elements I noticed, you know, and then wine are a little bit. So like it's cool now that you get to see that, and then Days. I'm happy you get to see Days. So I feel like you
Yes.
still need to have one good soap. Because if you only watch JH, I'd be feeling sorry for you right now. I really would. I really would.
Well, to be fair, I'll be feeling sorry for me also. What do you think is number one song right now?
In my opinion, definitely Days. Days would be the number one. I think Days is hitting all the key points for the soaps. Just diversity storyline, unique storylines. I never know what's gonna happen next. Like when Talia came in, I thought she was a love interest for Chanel, and then it turned out she wasn't. And then she's not even the woman, but now she's still gonna seduce Chanel. So it's like, okay, where's this going? I like it. Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I gotta sit there and say days as well. Don't get me wrong, I love the GH right now. They're firing on all four cylinders and stuff like that. But when you talk about throughout the year so far, I can't sit there and say GH has always been bringing it. Days has actually been, at the very least, decent. But DC, this question's for you though.
okay. So Sam says, DC, what did you notice about the compare and contrast in soaps from one channel to the others? Ooh, okay. So I think Sam was asking how the channels, I'm guessing, reviewed the soaps, like the different soap channels, like you and Brock. I assume like
Yeah.
that. I think that's what he's asking. Is that what you're getting from that question too, or something else?
I feel like that's what I'm getting from that question, but I'm also I had a lot of wine, so I'm just gonna kind of. But I feel like that's the direction that he's meant they're talking about, though. Or if
All
you're
right.
talking about rating that.
Al- Albert is pulling a Brooke Logan on New Year's Eve with his wine. But okay, so answer your question, Samuel. I would say this: what I've noticed about the way people compare different soaps, Albert does seem to, and I'm gonna have to generalize. Of course, they go through all the different intricacies and nuances, but Albert predominantly goes from a logic perspective. Um, Brock TV is going to be a little bit mixed. Um, James is always looking at it, I think, from I see from the diversity and representation perspective. And then Candice Mack is going at it from a lot of times a historical perspective. If I had to kind of like chop those down. Lanikia's, I haven't seen a lot of Lanikia's reviews from, oh, okay. He's asking from ABC to CBS to NBC. Okay, like the different soaps on the networks. Okay. Let me say this, Samuel. To me, ABC was social issues all the way. They were catering to the younger audience. NBC was very eccentric, so it was like whoever wants to watch, cool. And then CBS soaps were super conservative. And just to let you know, Samuel, CBS soaps did have adventure storylines. Guy like San Cristobal, let's not forget that. They did have adventure storylines on the soaps. But ABC, like I said, young oriented social issues. NBC, the eccentric storylines, and then CBS was just very conservative. That's how I would compare the networks. I mean, Albert, what do you think? You've seen all three networks. How would you compare the networks
I mean, like, well,
with their
CBS is
soaps?
definitely more. CBS is definitely more conservative. I would sit there and say that just right off the bat. Um, I feel like ABC was kind of gearing more towards like a younger crowd and stuff like that, especially with like the one like 11 the social issues, and of course you had GH and like the mob stuff and like the adventure stuff like Luke and stuff. Um, I feel like when it came towards like NBC, it was very fantasy. So you had like days and the supernatural stuff and the devil and the possession and stuff. You had passions giving off like witches and stuff like that. You had a lot of that stuff that was going on. It was very like fantasy. I would sit there and say for the most.
Yeah, and the thing is that with that, I feel like each of those three networks gave something. And I remember when I was watching all nine soaps, they were all bringing it, except for Oswald Turns. I couldn't get into it at that time. Now I can. Now that's canceled. I don't know how that works, but now I can. I never would have guessed that they were number one for 20 years for Wine or Snatch spot for them. Never would have guessed that. I guess you got a comment? Is it pulled up here?
No, no, this DC's Nikki says she agrees with you.
Oh, she has great breakdown though, DC. I agree, especially about Candace as a story and James for justice and diversity. Yeah, I mean that's what I see. Candace is the historian. Albert is looking at it from a logical perspective. Albert does not care for the fantasy or the specialty storylines or the romance or the love scenes. Like that's
Love
not like
happening, yeah.
the Vanna love scenes are shipping. I remember you wrote a whole review once years a while back where it's like I don't do shipping. Like you were like this, I don't do shipping. Like I don't. That's all about. You
Yeah,
wrote this whole
exactly. I do remember
quotation.
doing the air quotes. Yes, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't do shipping, but Albert doesn't do any of those things. He doesn't. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The Nurses Ball, though, I didn't want to watch that either though this year. It was the first time ever, so I'm with them on that. But and then Brock TV, like I said, Brock is that mixture. Brock is that mixture of that. And I agree with what you were saying earlier. I'm kind of reading what I was saying too about CBS daytime being very more of a conservative network, because I don't know if a lot of people noticed, Guiding Light never had sex scenes. Rarely did it have sex scenes on Guiding Light. It was very PG. Guiding Light rarely had that. Guiding Light was like after school special. It was an after school special. So I thought I started watching, and that made sense why GH dominated 3 o'clock hour. Guiding Light. That kind of made sense because the thing is, GH was able to draw men to the soap, and because back then it was controversial, yeah, controversial, but it was like stigma between men watching
Yes,
soaps. So that action thing going on, the mob thing attracted men to watch, and
I
so see,
do.
ABC daytime was smart. They knew how to bring in men, right? So yes, you have your woman, but you need viewers and you want to come in and pay these, advertisers and whatnot. So they brought in the men, and I knew a lot of men that watched GH growing up. That much I could tell you. They didn't tell my children though. They did not. And if they did, they said they didn't let their kids watch it because of Eric Kane. But that's a long story. Which is weird. You let your kids watch GH, but not all my children. But whatever.
Now, I do remember when I was not there at the time I was watching GH. I was in high school. My friends came over. One of my friends came over, and we were sitting there watching GH. And he's like, I don't really like a lot of these other characters, but this guy is interesting. I don't know what he's about, but he's interesting, you know? And even years later on, when I think I was watching like 2015 or whatever, this couple used to sit there and come into my job. And she used to always sit there and watch GH or whatever. And like the guys were like, yeah, I really like that Sunny character. I really like Sunny character. I really like the Cyrus character. And he was like, I like that guy with the ponytail.
Okay.
And then I sat there and I was like, it's because it's still drawing in men. Like let's just
Yeah.
forget Sunny for a minute, but just the simple fact he was like, I like Cyrus and stuff like that. There's something about him I really like, and it's like the fact that he's sitting there talking to me about this stuff, and he's not like, all right, I had to sit there and watch my wife, but this Cyrus guy, he was just very open about it, and like you said, it's the fact that it's also still drawing in men, which is
Yeah.
for a show that people consider, or some people consider, not to sit there and sound gender or whatever, but like woman's fantasy, you do actually have a lot of men that sit there and watch a show that can appreciate certain characters on the show. So you know,
Because GH gave that element. It gave you the action. It gave you that because it was the only soap doing that. I mean, Brad Bell Jr., who writes for B&B, when he did the gunshot scene with Lee, Lynn, sorry, Steffi and Finn. I said Lynn. Steffi and Finn. You see, you watch so many soaps, you got the names jumbled. You do. And he said in the interview, we rarely do shooting scenes on B&B because this is not General Hospital. I leave that to them. Right. That's what he said. That was kind of shady though, but he said that to them. But GH drew in male viewers. There are a lot of male viewers that watch The Bold and Beautiful. And honestly, I couldn't even picture that, to be honest. Like a lot of guys say, I
Bold
love
and
The Bold and
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Yeah, I watched The Bold and Beautiful. Like, I can't even picture that. Most men were watching. Go ahead, go ahead.
No, I was gonna sit there and say, you imagine after a basketball practice, whatever, you just sit there hanging out with the guys. You at the bar with like, yo, what you want? Yeah, I watched the Ball and the Beautiful, bro. Like what?
Did you
Like
catch The Bold and
what?
Beautiful the other day?
I watched the Young and the Restless, bro, for real.
I couldn't even picture that. Most men watch GH, then with One Life to Live as a close second right afterwards, because One Life to Live was balanced enough. It really had romance elements, All My Children, but then the actions of GH. I thought One Life to Live was like that perfect sandwich, and it came in
Yeah.
right in between the middle. All My Children and GH, but it was perfect. And GH didn't bring in those male viewers because everybody knew GH. And it makes sense because they had the Frank Smith storyline back in the day with Luke and Laura and all this other stuff. And they knew how to pull in those viewers because male viewers need to relate to that show. And I think now soaps are realizing that other people need to be able to relate to what's being written because we knew soaps were originally written for women. The creator of the whole genre is a woman. Erna Phillips. She was a woman. So and women were their predominant audience, obviously, because they were homemakers at the time. It was the 30s, the 50s, and the 60s at the time, that whole 40-year span. And then afterwards, like, women were going to work too. and they need to draw in another demographic. And then ABC was like, we need to bring younger viewers. So ABC started bringing out the younger viewers. That's how they started getting all this, All My Children coming in, and the younger romance storylines and stuff like that. And they brought in their younger viewers by doing that, because ABC was the young network. Even when I watched in '06, when I first started watching in '06, I could tell like the storylines on ABC was just different than on CBS and NBC, because CBS mainly focused on the older characters,
Mhm.
and I think
Yeah,
that was also part of their problem at the same time. Go ahead, what are you gonna say? Go ahead.
no, and I do remember Ty Treadway. Yeah, that's gonna fall in a second. I do remember Ty Treadway was not there, and that's the guy that plays Colin, whatever. He did sit
Colin
there and
Troy.
say like, yes, exactly. He was like, CBS will always sit there and stay with the older crowd or whatever. Like that's their specific sort of crowd. They're not really gearing away from that. So like you said, yeah, it was very, but yeah, One Life to Live was a very good mixture because there was a lot of good male characters and characters that I did like. Like I loved Todd at the time. I loved Kyle when I first started watching it. RJ was always a great character, so it's like they knew what they were doing as far as bringing in the younger character. And I was in high school at the time when I was watching this. I was like, yo, this is actually pretty dope. Like, you know.
And Star Manning. Star
Yeah,
Manning. I don't think they've ever written for a sub character to grow up on a show since. Well, we have seen it with Molly on GH. Molly has grown up on the show. She's on
Robin
Social
also.
Justice.
Yeah, Robin. But
Robin.
it's very
Robin.
exactly, but it's also very feudal. And yeah, like you said, Star Manning was another. And I remember the actress said that she had her first kiss on television. Like, how crazy is that? Like, oh yeah, when was your first kiss? Oh yeah, I was on this show on ABC. It's like, wait, really? You know?
Yeah, yeah. It's interesting how they were able to grow up on the show, but ABC, that was their biggest thing, was targeting a younger audience. Like I think when I was in eighth grade, I got my friends to watch One Life to Live, and they were watching at the time when Tina Lord came back and she fell off the river again. They're trying to recreate history, whatever. And they couldn't get into GH. They said they didn't like the mob stuff, so they couldn't get into GH. Um, but it was geared towards the younger audience. And you could just see it in the way they wrote the storylines, the dialogue, the diversity. This was like the type of stuff you just didn't see on CBS. And CBS conservatism is showing now because we have no Taraya. And I knew that was going to happen. And like I said, we get on this all the time. But like I told people when they were celebrating, and James is like, let's celebrate, guys, I'm excited. And I was just like, I'm watching James live. I was like, all right, like, y'all ain't going to see Taraya after this. I promise. It's like.
I do. It's really funny. I actually do remember that day because I was actually in that live stream, and I don't think I was actually commenting at the time, but I do remember you Smith saying, "Hey guys, just let you know, that's all y'all gonna get. Like, just I'm throwing it out there now." And I don't think anyone was sitting there paying attention at the time, and because they were just in their element, they were just really happy. And now I'm just like, "Hey guys, how happy are y'all about that whole Taraya thing? Right? It's still working out. Just they're still getting great scenes. No, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. You know,
Yeah, yeah. So like people weren't expecting that, but you know, I know that CBS still has an older audience, but see, that's the thing too. I think that soaps have to find a way to draw in newer audiences, and I think they're struggling with that, and it's showing. It's really showing they're struggling. They don't know how to do that right now. I think Days has a potential to because it's on Peacock, just because of that alone. But the other three, I'm wondering how they're gonna do that. I'm wondering. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that they can successfully pull in newer viewers from where they're at now, or
I feel like it's a matter if they really want to. I think it's not so much a question of if they can. It's a question if they want to. If they're because a lot of times if you're very comfortable doing something and you feel like, you know what, listen, I'm getting enough or whatever, it's fine. I don't have to put in more work. I don't have to put in more money. Um, then it's fine. It's like why fix something that's not broken? So it's not really a question of if they can. It's a question if they want to. If they want to sit there and doing the extra work. And I just don't feel like some of them do, and the ones that do will do, and the ones that won't do, it's showing. And as they sit there and say in the streets, it's lacking. You know,
that's what they say the streets lacking?
lacking.
but like GH, the vibe I get from GH is that like they're just letting this ride till the wheels falls off. That's just the vibe I've been getting lately from these past few months. And it's not just because of the storylines, it's just even though the anniversary's done. It was typical soap anniversary, but it's just like I just get this feeling like they're like, yeah, like we're just gonna see how far this we can take this now at this point. We're good. Like if this goes on a year, right? Like, all right, we did we gave it the old college try.
Yeah, and, when you sit there and think of it like that, it's a very dangerous way that they're going about it because things are shifting, and the one of the last things I was sit there and say is what I don't think that they understand about these soap operas and the way they run these shows is that there's so many other genres that have soap opera elements in them that they don't actually have to sit there and commit to 5 days a week. It's like there's other shows that put in the romance, the action, and all the other stuff, and the funny and the humor. And it's like if y'all don't sit there and try to adapt and actually try to get better, y'all just gonna be sitting there left in the dust. You know,
Yeah,
'Cause when superhero shows are kind of blending it in with like soap opera elements, what are y'all doing wrong? Y'all need to sit there and find a way to fix that.
yeah, I agree.
Now, what do you want to sit there and say? Because I feel like we kind of covered a lot of things.
We did, we
More stuff,
did.
yeah, more stuff than I thought we was gonna do. But that's just how we usually, just to be fair, for the most part, that's kind of how like whenever we end our live streams, that's generally what we sit there and tend to talk to afterwards. So, yeah,
Yeah,
everyone's literally sitting there kind of getting like the behind the scenes kind of, you know, talk,
yeah. Well,
you know.
sort of behind the scenes. Some things got to leave for behind the
Well, yeah,
scenes.
yeah. For the most part, yeah, 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 for the most part. But what do you want to sit there and say before before we sit there in this live stream?
Oh, I want to say is, guys, I want to thank you guys for the support you guys providing. And Albert over here, his support, Boston Enterprises. It's been great serving as VP. But on a serious note, though, I want to thank you guys for all your support. For those of you guys who have been subscribed to my channel, supporting the content, and I just really appreciate that. So, um, maybe hopefully at some point in time I'll get the chance to come back. You never know. I may resurrect. Like, you never know. So, Dave, but guys, I'm loving it. I want to thank you guys and just tell you guys I appreciate it. And I appreciate all your support and thank you guys for it.
Yeah. Kind of funny because like when I watched the video and I watched in the afternoon, even though I knew this wasn't like, all right, this is the end for DC channel, whatever. It felt like the end, but Smith had talked to you and stuff like that. Now it's not so much as the end; it's more of like you
Yeah.
need to do something else this way you don't get burnt out. And when if you do come back, you can come back and it can be fun. You're not feeling like you're burnt out, and it's like because like you said, your emotions play through the camera. So if you're not happy with what you're doing, if you're just kind of putting out something, it's gonna show. That's just
Yeah.
the bottom line. And when you start doing stuff like that, you kind of lose focus on why you started doing the channel in the first place. You know?
And that video felt refreshed. That video, that last video I did, it felt refreshed for some reason. I think that was the most refreshed I felt in it, like the most energy I brought to a video. So I'm giving Dominic Zampronia. And if some of you guys don't know, that's Dante Falconeri. So Dante.
I didn't know how to
He took a
pronounce
break
his
from
last
GH for a
name.
while. Yeah,
What?
Zampronia.
Okay. Wow. I always wonder how to pronounce his actual last name.
You know how I remember was in the promo when before Sonny, the promo where Sonny shoots him, and they go, "It's a GH event. Maurice Bernard and Dominic Zampronia, General Hospital, ABC daytime." As I remember that. Yeah, as I remember that. So I mean, I'm giving Dominic Zampronia right now. He took a little break from GH, he came back down live. So that's yeah.
Yeah, no, and I think that's very important because it's like, you can come back, you want to come back, you're going to keep it fun, and everything else is going to flow. And you don't have to feel like you're required to do something. And I feel like, granted, there was a lot of stuff that we sat there and we touched on and stuff. And, you did your video early and stuff. Just, I guess for me, what I'll sit there and say, just keep in mind when it comes towards DC and its content, it shouldn't get to a point where it's like he's required to do something. It's fun. Every time he comes on this channel, he has fun. He's laughing. He's joking around or whatever. He does his live streams. It's fun. It shouldn't be at a point where it's like, I haven't done a live stream in a while, so let me just sit there and do one. It's like that's not how it should work. So as long as he
Right.
does, what I'm saying, like, don't think of it like, oh, you think of it as a way for him to sit there and refresh. Because uh, listen, not to sit there and say what we do is very strenuous or anything like that, but mentally, when you have an outside world of stuff that you have to do, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So,
But I'll still be in the chats. And if you ever want to have a live stream come on, I'm still gonna be happy to come back on, even during this time. I have no problems if you will have me.
and of course, with going without saying, I'm always gonna sit there and have DC on here whenever he's available and he wants to sit there and come through. Thank you, Gemini. Yeah, and that's just how it's gonna be. And
Definitely.
I think I've to tell you the truth, I don't really think I have anything left to sit there and say because you know me, I'm on here like 5 days a week.
I
But
think we set
I guess
up. I
what I
think we
would,
set off tonight.
but I will sit there and say I just want to thank everyone for joining. This week has been amazing. This live stream has been amazing. Everyone here, thank you, Jonathan. Let me
Shout out
see.
to Jonathan.
Shout out to Jonathan. Johnson says, it's too bad Lulu isn't around for the Ice Princess 2.0 story. She probably would have been played a bigger part. Yeah, I can't agree. I can't disagree with that. Um,
Actually, I think it's because that Lulu isn't actually around. Because I think that they kind of already played that already when she had the whole storyline with Stavros back in 2012 or
oh yeah,
something.
I forgot about
Yeah,
that. I forgot
and that
about
was
that.
based around the Ice Princess because they've done Ice Princess story like 10 times now. So I think this is now Spencer's turn.
I do remember
But I see
Cynthia
what you're
saying
saying,
what she
Jonathan.
said.
I see what you're
Yes,
saying.
but
I
yeah,
see
no,
what
I
you're
just
saying.
I'm not gonna pick that up.
Right, right.
Um, but no, I just want to sit there and thank everyone for joining. Though this was a lot of fun. This is a good Friday live stream. I know everyone could have been doing anything else in the world. Y'all came through. You supported me. You supported DC. Um, and I can sit there and say I would not be here or do what I do, and I feel like I wouldn't be doing it as well without the support of everyone here. So when I sit there and I do my little flex, it's just because of everyone here that makes these live streams so fun. So thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Kyrie's and Super Chat, Jonathan, and just everyone in general who's just been supporting the channel. I cannot sit there and say how much I love y'all
Oh,
now.
Daisy Flower. Don't forget Daisy Flower.
Yes, and Daisy, thank you.
Yeah.
See, this is why I can't sit there and do a song. My God, DC, and thank you, Daisy Flower. Because we sit there, we bump heads or whatever, but she's pretty cool. Thank you, everyone. This was really great. And you know how I'm gonna sit there and do it tomorrow. If y'all the members come through, we're gonna be cooking. So we got some good topics. But thank you for joining. Thank you, DC. Everyone, stay safe.
We'll see you
Um,
guys in the next one.
yes, definitely will. DC's not, going. He's just on a hiatus, like a soap opera. Later.
Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody.